Cole Hamels brought hope and expectation to the Rangers pitching staff on his arrival in 2015. Remembered for his division-clinching complete game masterpiece on the final day that season, and his unwavering excellence the following year, leading the Rangers to the best record in the American League. The ace of the Rangers staff said goodbye last night, and we tip our cap to Cole Hamels one last time. Rangers baseball is presented by Shiner's Sea Salt and Lime Summer Lager. Well, warm weather following the Rangers as they make it down to Houston tonight for the opening game of this three-game series, Rangers and Astros, and it is the last time this year that these two rivals will get together. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you again tonight. I'm Dave Raymond alongside the old left-hander C.J. Nitkowski, and here we are again now with the Houston Astros for one last time this year. But yesterday, really, the news was about Cole Hamels, traded to the Cubs. 3 players in exchange coming back from Chicago. But this is, I guess, maybe our one last time, CJ, to recognize and acknowledge the great contributions the left-hander made.
There were some really big contributions from Cole Hamels in a deal that worked out very well for the Rangers when Hamels first came over, but now he is off to the Chicago Cubs, and his career with Texas was a good one. 88 starts when it was all said and done. 38 of those were wins. The strikeouts per nine were great. The ERA certainly very good, especially for Cole coming over to the American League for the first time. The Rangers were very good in his starts for the first 2 years, 2015, 2016. Without a doubt, he was the ace after Yu Darvish left, and he will be missed.
Yeah, so that was a big part of the news yesterday. The other part of the news yesterday was that Oakland left town, and the Rangers happy to put Oakland in the rearview mirror. That said, tonight begins a series against another very good club in the Houston Astros.
Yeah, so it's good news and maybe some bad news as well. The Astros are a very solid club. We know that, and they are very deep. The lineup is something you just have to contend with. There's no two ways about it. Here are their ranks right now in this season. 5th in runs per game. The batting average has been pretty good for them. They're playing excellent defense as well, but the pitching is going to be a real struggle for these Rangers hitters. This rotation is so unbelievably deep. The bullpen is pretty good as well. So yes, this will be a tough battle. These last 3 against the Astros are going to be some tough games for the Rangers.
Well, part of the task tonight will be for Yovani Gallardo. The right-hander makes the start for Texas tonight. He was awfully good his last time out, and we'll put Yovani in the spotlight when we come back. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. By Shiner's Sea Salt and Lime Summer Lager. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. All set for the opening game of this weekend series in Houston. Rangers and Astros, the battle for the silver boot for the final weekend of the year between these two teams. Hey, we're talking about our Shiner Sea Salt and Lime Spotlight, and Yovani Gallardo, really good his last time out.
Yeah, he certainly was, and he's been a very nice surprise here for the Rangers in the rotation, but he had some elements that he had to deal with, and he really did deliver against a good team in the Cleveland Indians. Got some great defense behind him. No runs allowed against that Cleveland Indians club, and he did it in just 72 pitches over those 6 innings worth of work, and also while it was 108 degrees out. So a really nice job by Yovani Gallardo. It'll be a little bit cooler here in Houston. 23 starts against the Astros over the course of his career. 16 wins. You see the 3.24 ERA. He's also thrown pretty well in this ballpark over the course of his career.
Well, he draws a pretty significant mound opponent tonight. Dallas Keuchel, left-hander, has the start for Houston, and Emily Jones has some thoughts on the Rangers facing him tonight when we come back. By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Shiner's Sea Salt and Lime Summer Lager.
The opener of a 3-game weekend series here in Houston, set to begin between the Rangers and the Astros. On the hill tonight for Houston will be the lefty Dallas Keuchel. And Keuchel started the year off relatively slow, but in the last month or so has really started to round into Dallas Keuchel form. And as we take a look at our Kubota power stats, perhaps a place where the Rangers might be able to take advantage would be early in the game. He has struggled in the first inning, giving up, there you see, a 77-1 ERA in the first inning. And so in talking to the Rangers as far as how to approach Dallas, especially early, there is a need there to be aggressive and be assertive in their approach, but also to wait for their pitch. And talking to Ronald Guzman, I asked him how he would take his presence to the plate, and he said he wants to let the ball travel a little bit deeper into the zone so he can better connect on those off-speed pitches that Keuchel tends to throw him. So this is a very different Dallas Keuchel than we saw early in the season. Should be interesting to see which version we'll see here tonight, guys.
Yep, that's going to be a big story tonight. He has been lights out so far in the month of July, so the Rangers hoping that maybe that great run is one that, of course, can't last forever. And so maybe tonight is the first night that he takes a couple of dents in the armor. So the Rangers, take a look at our Southwest Airlines starting lineup. 20 games under 500 at 42-62. And some late changes. Chu was leading off. He is still leading off, but now in right field instead of as the DH. Profar at second base. Elvis Andrus bats third and plays short. Beltre now the DH batting cleanup. Guzman at first base. Robinson Chirinos catching. Willie Calhoun in left. New to the lineup, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and he takes the spot at third, and Carlos Tocci in center field rounds it out.
And so they'll be going up against Dallas Keuchel as we take a look at the Shiner Sea Salt and Lime pitch arsenal. And there it is for Dallas Keuchel. Lots of two-seam fastballs, 42% of the time. You will see the slider and the cutter, although the cutter usage has been down lately. And there's the changeup and four-seam fastball as well. So really a full repertoire there for the Astros left-hander.
So Keuchel all set to get this one started tonight. Indoors, roof closed. This time of year, that is pretty much standard here. And he winds it up and lets loose with ball one. So underway at 7-11 tonight. Convenient.
Oh, well done.
73 degrees indoors.
That is pretty exciting.
Now a little bit in, and he goes 2-0 on Shin-Soo Choo.
Did you say 71 degrees?
I think I said 73.
That's all right.
93 outside. So
on average about 30 degrees cooler than it's been.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah. In fact, our highest game time temperature on that last homestand was 35 degrees higher than this one. Ground ball to second base. Marwin Gonzalez is there, and he throws out Shin-Soo Choo.
Take a look at the Astros defense this evening, which is sponsored by Jack in the Box. And here is the outfield. It's Tony Kemp, George Springer, and Josh Reddick for Houston. And in the infield for A.J. Hinch's club, it'll be J.D. Davis, Alex Bregman at short, Marwin Gonzalez at second, and Yuli Gurriel at first, with Max Stassi doing the catching. So a little bit of a different infield lineup than we're certainly used to seeing with the Astros. No Jose Altuve, no Carlos Correa.
For that matter, no Brian McCann at catcher, who we've seen predominantly back there. And even if you want to go as far as Jake Marisnick, who had been in the outfield for pretty much every game, started at least probably 80-90% of the games that we've seen this year. He's not with a ball club right now either, so they're a little banged up or underperforming at certain positions. And so it's a new looking Astros team that the Rangers are seeing here tonight. A.J. Hinch even sent out his closer Ken Giles not that long ago after a bit of an episode during one of his late inning meltdowns. 1-1 pitch. That's low.
Yeah, I took a quick peek to see how Ken Giles was throwing at the minor league level. Numbers have been pretty good for him so far. Just one run allowed. It was 6 innings of work, but pretty interesting. We got to the point where not that he couldn't take it anymore, but it's probably a good time to take a little bit of a break. I just wonder about the future for Ken Giles so important to this club last year during the regular season. Things changed a little bit in the postseason as far as his role, and we'll see what happens here in the future.
Well, Jurickson Profar batting here ahead in the count, 3-1, and he takes ball 4. Gets away from Stassi, but Profar with the 1-out walk. Rangers have a base runner here in the first inning. That'll bring up Elvis Andrus. He is our TXU Energy power player to watch. And Elvis, since the start of last season, how about this, in 24 games against the Astros, hitting over 400. His OPS is on base plus slugging over 1,000. And he scored 24 runs in those 24 games. So he has been a key member of the offense for the Rangers in this Silver Boot series. He takes a strike from Keuchel. Elvis 1 for 4 with a walk yesterday. Had a pretty good homestand, couple of home runs, 9 hits. But he's in a hole here, 0-2.
That's a good changeup from Dallas Keuchel. We think about his two-seam fastball and his slider as a pitch. That is pretty good, but against those right-handed hitters, the changeup certainly brings a lot to the table.
This one shanked over to the right side, foul and out of play. Andrus has an 8-game hitting streak coming into this one tonight. His longest hitting streak of the year, back at the end of June and the beginning of July, he went 9 straight. Good numbers against Houston this season. And lifts this one in the air out to right field. Reddick coming in and toward the line. 2 away. So now Adrian Beltre, the designated hitter. Adrian was in the lineup today at third base. Instead now, with the scratch of Ryan Rua. Rua was batting 8th and starting in right field. Rua had some tightness in his lower back, so they scratched him from the lineup. Beltre takes over as DH.
And you know, it must have been something significant for Ryan Rua, because of course he's looking for that consistent playing time. He's been on the bench a little bit more probably than he would like, and so he got scratched. I'm sure it was something significant for him, because I got to believe he'd try to fight through just about anything to get into this lineup. Hopefully it wasn't pitching related. We've got enough days past his pitching outing.
I doubt it had anything to do with that. Although, you never know. 1-1. Bouncing ball through the right side. That's a base hit for Beltre. Profar pulls up at second. And so the Rangers with a couple of base runners against Dallas Keuchel. And we mentioned it at the top. Emily did anyway. This is the time to get him.
Tried to get to him early, as you see that pitch on the outer third, but it was 3 in a row, and that was the little cutter from Dallas Keuchel. Nice job by Adrian. We've seen him do this so much going the other way, but it's just a great approach against lefties.
And there you see it again. The 7.71 ERA in the first inning, 4th highest in the loop. And once you get past the first inning, he's really tough to get to. Guzman takes one inside. Guzman 4 for 6 in his career against Keuchel, so he's had some success against the left-hander. And he's put up good numbers against Houston in this his rookie season. He jumps ahead 2-0.
One of the things that you get here at Minute Maid Park, for viewers at home, you get that nice straight-on view, so you get a really good look at the movement on the Dallas Keuchel pitches. I love this view right here. We talk about a lot. If anything, you know, slightly off to the first base side, maybe a little tiny bit, but it's a really nice view if you enjoy watching pitchers. You get a much better feel for the movement on the pitches, especially what goes horizontal. So two-seam fastball, sliders, cutters.
For broken bat roller first base side, Gurriel will feed Keuchel, a very good fielder, and that will end the inning. So the Rangers got a couple on, but couldn't break through against the Astros left-hander. And so now Giovanni Gallardo goes top of the first inning, but nothing doing against Keuchel. And so now the Houston Astros 30 games over 500 at 67-37, 5-game lead in the division. And they'll lead it off with George Springer in center field. Alex Bregman at shortstop bats second. Reddick in right field is third. Then it's Gurriel, Gaddis, and Gonzalez, the 3 Gs in the middle. J.D. Davis at third base, Max Stassi catching, and Matt Kemp in left field will round it out.
Take a look at the pitch arsenal for Gallardo, which is brought to you by Shiner Sea Salt and Lime Summer Lager. 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball. Those are the two that you will see the most. But the slider, the curveball, and the changeup, all part of what Gallardo does. And the 4-seam fastball has actually been pretty good for him. Just a .220 batting average against, which kind of bucks the trend of what's happening around the league. It seems like more and more guys are getting away from their fastballs. Of course, Bartolo throws a lot, Gallardo throws a lot. And that 4-seamer has been very successful for him.
It starts with George Springer, and he gets that first one in there for a strike. You have to be careful with Springer. .249 average, 17 home runs, and you can see 4 of those have come at the expense of the Rangers this year. And of those 4, several are of the leadoff variety, and that's just one of those things for Springer. Right. He gives A.J. Hinch some real thump at the very top of the order, and in his career has 8 leadoff home runs against the Rangers. 2-1 the count.
And certainly Gallardo is aware of that. That's something that comes up in the scouting report when you go through the lineup for the Astros, and he knows that he needs to stay on the corners. Has to be very careful early on against Springer.
Well, he put Springer in a good spot here at 3-1. Gallardo making a 7th start, 4 wins, 1 loss, and a .556 ERA. Very good his last time out. And Springer lifts this one out into medium deep center field. Tochi in a couple of steps. And there's the first out of the inning.
Take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by DeMontron RV. Willie Calhoun, Carlos Tochi, and Shin Soo Choo are in the outfield tonight, and in the infield, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, surprise start at third base, Elvis Andrews at short, Jurickson Profar at second, and Ronald Guzman at first, all with Robinson Chirinos catching behind the plate.
Kiner-Falefa getting a shot on the infield tonight. A lot of his work has been behind the plate lately. So back out there on the infield dirt, and Alex Bregman steps in and takes ball 1. Mentioned at the outset that Altuve not in the lineup today. It's just the 2nd game this year that Altuve has not started. Correa's been hurt. They've had some guys go down, and one guy who has picked up maybe the slack for everybody who has fallen off for injury or whatever this year will be Alex Bregman. Bregman has been huge with the 68 RBIs and the 21 homers. Takes a strike, and it's 1-2.
He's done a really nice job here for the Astros. And, he came through the system as a shortstop, was a shortstop in college, and so with a guy like Correa down, it's a pretty easy adjustment. There's been times where we have seen Marwin Gonzalez play short, but certainly Bregman very capable as well. He's an excellent defensive third baseman. I was a little bit surprised to see some of his defensive numbers overall. Some of those defensive metrics were not as favorable to him at third. -3 on the defensive run saved in this limited time at shortstop in his career.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Big crowd here tonight. And that will be the case all weekend. It's the final time that these two teams will play one another this season. Unusual to see a divisional rival go by the wayside in July. I mean, the fact that these two will not affect one another down the stretch is sort of weird. Another fly ball out to short center, and Tochi coming in a little further this time makes the play. 2 away. Gallardo trying to build on that last outing, which was so good. Now will work against Josh Reddick. Reddick might be heating up just a little bit. He's always enjoyed hitting against Gallardo to the tune of a .500 career batting average, 8 for 16 against Giovanni. Lately, he's been racking up some extra base hits. Comes up empty there, though, 1-1.
Interesting choice on the break ball. That's a pitch that he has been very good against, as Josh Reddick has not swung and missed at very many breaking pitches against righties this year, just 17% of the time. That puts him in the top 10 in the league.
He went around. I'm surprised one would need help on that call, but indeed, that was the case. Larry Vanover asking Sean Barber for help at third, and Barber very clearly saw that as a swing. 1-2 the count.
Do you think umpires ever call each other out on stuff like that afterwards? Like,
got it, right?
In fun, like, what do you mean? You know, like,
yeah.
Why were you asking me to check that in the first inning? What game were you watching?
I sure hope they do.
We got to keep it light. It's a pretty intense job.
2-2.
When you're working behind the plate.
Well, that one caught the corner. Strike 3 called on Reddick. Boy, Gallardo, nicely done in the bottom of the first. 3 up, 3 down.
Now this is perfect location from Gallardo. This pitch is a ball the entire time. Little slider comes back and catches the outside corner.
In the books, and we go to the second. You see the sunshine pouring in from those windows in left field here at Minute Maid Park. You, CJ, I know, a fan of indoor baseball.
Indoor broadcasting, for sure. I'm a huge fan of.
Robinson Chirinos leads off the second inning here for the Rangers.
Although I actually always like playing inside, too, to be honest with you. Even though some of the ballparks are not great for pitchers. Tampa isn't, Arizona isn't. We'll head there next. I always like being indoors for big league games.
I think it'll be fun on this trip for fans who watch consistently to see the difference of what indoor baseball can look like. This, to me, is a really well done, well conceived ballpark. Ball hit well out to right center field. That one gets down and will roll to the wall for Chirinos. Robbie into second. He'll pull up there as that ball just now heading back in. A leadoff double in the second for Chirinos.
Robbie is really starting to swing a good bat. You see it there now, double number 13 for him on the season. But I love the approach. Just talked about this earlier with Adrian Beltre. Two-seam fastball that Keuchel was trying to get inside. And came back over the middle of the plate, but just the approach of staying middle of the field and drilling this thing to right center. Nice job by Chirinos.
So another man in scoring position for the Rangers. The early moments of this game, and it brings up Willie Calhoun. And Willie takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Now, do you think the viewing experience is much different? You mentioned kind of getting a feel for indoor baseball.
So that's where I was going. I think when fans see the ballpark in Arizona and see how dark it is by comparison, and I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's a little drab.
If you feel like you're in a warehouse there. I always like going there, but the feeling is that you feel like you're in a really big warehouse. And even the way that center field is kind of constructed, there's a lot of exposed beams and everything else there in Arizona you guys will get a look at on Monday and Tuesday night. It's hard to be drab in Arizona.
Right.
It's not like not a city that, you know, it's always usually very bright. But maybe that's it. It's like, hey, come to the ballpark, we'll make it a little darker and cooler.
Well, that could be, right? I mean, might play into the collective psyche of the town. But this one, usually, you know, with all the windows out there and just the way they position the seating, most of the seating right there behind the plate. Very little seating in the outfield. And so it creates a scene where you get the people all bunched up in one spot. And it's always sort of vibrant, energetic, wherever you are. Doesn't hurt. This team is coming off a World Series championship, and they've managed to pack them in here. People want to get in and see this team the year after. The 1-2 pitch. Calhoun takes inside 2-2. But I think you're going to see some similarities too with regard to the way natural light and whatnot is used on the new ballpark up in Arlington. The Rangers intend to incorporate some of the same things that have worked well here. Pitch to Calhoun, and he swings and misses, strike 3.
So that's something I heard that was pretty interesting about Dallas Keuchel. We're going to show you these numbers, and these are what he is. This is what he's done over his last 7 starts. Pretty impressive, right? 5-0, 1.80 ERA. Well, the start prior to that run of the 7 was one that took place against the Texas Rangers. And the Rangers hit Dallas Keuchel very well in that start. And after it, there was some discussion apparently surrounding Dallas Keuchel as far as how often the shifts were being used when he was pitching, and he seemed a little bit dissatisfied. He let up 13 hits to the Rangers back on June 10th in 4 1/3 innings. Remember that start? And he gave up 6 runs. 5 of those were earned, and so the Astros started backing off on the shifts a little bit with Dallas Keuchel, and at least right now it seems like it's something that is working in his favor. You saw the numbers over his last 7. The Astros shift more than anybody in Major League Baseball, and Keuchel felt like it might have been a little bit too much. And the results, well, whether the shifts actually matter over that time, but the comfort level for your starter does matter, and most teams like to have that two-way conversation when it comes to how often they're going to use a defensive shift.
Well, he's been very good since then. A roller in the hole, short. Bregman with a backhand to throw, not in time, and into third base, Chirinos. So Kiner-Falefa with an infield hit, and the Rangers have runners on the corners.
Good hustle as always by Isaiah, and almost a tremendous play here by Alex Bregman. Of course, mentioned he has been a third baseman here, but filling in for Carlos Carrasco, and a smart play to make sure you get this throw all the way in the air. You don't want to short hop that one to give yourself a chance. Check out Kiner-Falefa out of the box. And slowing down in his game.
Showing a little heart and hustle right there.
I see what you did.
So on the corners, and here is Carlos Tocci, 9th place hitter. And he bunts one back toward the mound. Keuchel scoops it with a glove. Not in time. Chirinos gets in underneath the tag. And the Rangers draw first blood tonight on the squeeze bunt by Tocci.
Oh, what a really smart play. I mentioned this a couple of nights ago with Carlos Tocci getting some consistent playing time. You want to see whether or not he can bunt in some big spots, whether it's going to be sack bunts or in this situation that squeeze, and you see it there. You don't square too early. You don't want to give it away, and it wasn't a straight suicide squeeze either. You see Chirinos in the slide home. He didn't take off as if he were stealing. That would be more the suicide squeeze. This had much more of a safety squeeze kind of feel to it. You wait to see the ball down and then you take off, and probably got a good read and just barely got in there.
So Tocci again finding a way to contribute with the bat. Since he has gotten the regular playing time, he's been productive, been helpful. So he picks up an RBI with a sacrifice. And now Chu bats with a couple of runners on.
I think we got to let people know why he said he showed some heart and hustle, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, because he was the recipient, the Rangers recipient of the Heart and Hustle Award a couple of days ago. That'll be presented next homestand.
So hits the inside corner, 1-1 on Chu. Major League Baseball Alumni Association hands those out every year. For those guys who demonstrate the passion and dedicated work ethic on the field. And Kiner-Falefa, great choice this year for the Rangers. There's a strike called to Chu. It's 1-2. It's been a very entertaining run. Very fun to watch this young man come up, demonstrate his abilities, but then also see him grow, learn, and improve so much. A very good example for a lot of other players in the organization. As the pitch runs inside, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
And he's done some really nice work here with Heroes for Hawaii. Make sure you check out that website. It's heroesforhawaii.org. And Isaiah doing some good work there, throwing his name out there, lending some support to volcano and flood victims in his native Hawaii.
Full count now on Chu, who grounded out in the first inning. 1-0 Rangers lead. Kiner-Falefa at second, Tochi at first. Keuchel's payoff. And a chopper, first base side. That took Gurriel way off the bag. And before he could toss the baseball, he had to hold on to it. Couldn't find the handle, and everybody's safe. That'll be an error on Gurriel.
Rangers putting some pressure on the defense right now and getting some good results. Chu, of course, has been such a great contact hitter. This should have been an easy play, but probably some pressure felt there from Gurriel to hurry up after the high bounce, and he didn't quite have the ball on the exchange and ended up dropping it.
Somehow an even greater opportunity here for the Rangers. Loaded up. One out for Jurickson Profar. Walked his last time up, and he takes one on the inside corner for a strike. Profar starting tonight's game at second base as Rougned Odor gets a night off. He and Joey Gallo both getting a break with the tough lefty on the hill. So Profar, it is just his 8th start this year at second base. There's Ruby. Well, he's had some success with the bases loaded, but in a tough spot here at 0-2. That's fouled off. Stays 0-2. One thing Profar wants to avoid here, of course, and I suppose it would be fairly obvious, is he wants to avoid that ground ball on the infield. He has been doubled up 7 times this year. And Keuchel, one of the great ground ball pitchers in the game. 0-2. That one misses low.
Good take there by Jurickson Profar. Certainly not easy to do against Keuchel, but you're right. 55% ground ball rate this year for Dallas Keuchel. He has induced 10 ground ball double plays. It has been a big strength for him in a big spot, and it's tough as a hitter knowing that's a possibility. You won't necessarily want to change your swing, but it's going to be a battle.
Well, he strikes out. Second out of the inning. Saturday, August 4th, Rangers and Orioles 7:05 game. First 15,000 fans get a Vladimir Guerrero Hall of Fame bobblehead courtesy of Allstate. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. So a big out for Keuchel, but an opportunity nonetheless for the Rangers. Smashed down to third base. Great play by Davis. Hops up, makes a terrific throw. Wow, a little defense gets Keuchel out of additional trouble. Rangers leave him loaded. But the Rangers score first. Chirinos streaking 0 from third on the squeeze bunt. And the Rangers lead 1-0. Is sponsored by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer today. Well, 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Giovanni Gallardo looked very sharp in the first inning, and he moves this one to Yulieski Gurriel for a strike. 16 pitches in that first inning for Gallardo. A couple of fly ball outs, and they struck out Reddick rather looking. He jumped ahead of Gurriel. 0-2. Gurriel, the cleanup man, averaged just a smidge below 300. He does have the 6 home runs. His numbers against the Rangers this year, though, pretty big. He's had some success, 9 for 17 with 2 home runs and 4 doubles in his last 4 games. So a guy that Gallardo will be careful with tonight. This one lifted high in the air out to left field. Calhoun, a couple of steps to his left. And there's one away. That gives us a moment now to hear from our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
4 up, 4 down for Gallardo. And now the designated hitter, Evan Gattis. Darren Hacken at the first pitch.
Hacken at a first pitch breaking ball from Gallardo. Kind of interesting for Gattis to take that approach. He's hitting just 107 against breaking balls. I got to believe Gallardo thinking he can get himself a first pitch strike.
This one looped over second, and that's down for a base hit. So Gattis is on. First base runner of the night for Houston.
Take a look at the pitch here from Gallardo. Looked like that slider, and a pretty good one off the plate. Credit Evan Gattis for going with that pitch. We often think of him as kind of a pull power guy. You throw something that's breaking away off the plate, and you're thinking you'll probably get weak contact. But that's a pretty good approach. A good base hit for Gattis. It's a unique fella, isn't he? No batting gloves, sweet beard. Incredible backstory.
This one down the left field line and slices foul.
Not a lot of room down there in left field. It was interesting to kind of watch Gonzalez, even as he swung that ball, landed first, maybe second row from the wall. Very similar to Boston, not quite as tight as Fenway Park, but certainly has that same feel that you figure that ball's either going to be fair or in the stands.
Ball, 1 strike on Marlin, the switch hitter, and today playing second base. Last year was a menace for Rangers pitching. This year it has been a quieter campaign for Gonzalez, and really overall offensively not having quite the same year. Takes low, it's 2-1. Still think he is one of the better trivia questions or answers from last year's team, in that he led the Astros with 90 RBIs. You would probably guess a handful of other names prior to coming up with Marwin Gonzalez when you think of that team that won the World Series last year. Head now 2-1. Mentioned the numbers last year against the Rangers. He had 5 home runs against Texas last year. And he had the one game where he hit the grand slam here in the late innings. Might have been like a 9th inning or so. A home run. He's had some really big moments, and he takes ball 4. He is on. 2-men aboard. Gallardo now really does need a ground ball.
And for Gallardo, been pretty good in that regard in his time here so far this season. 48% ground ball rate. That's slightly above league average by about 5%. And he's gotten 6 of those double plays so far this season. And he's got a really good candidate here in J.D. Davis. From an offensive side, Davis is hitting 53% ground balls. That is 10% above league average, or maybe below league average, however you want to look at it. It's in the wrong direction by 10%. The number's higher, but that means it's worse.
I can see his numbers. This is 3rd go-round with the big club. He was recalled from AAA Fresno last Friday, so a week ago. Was on the opening day roster. Optioned out in early April, and then had a short stint with the club in late May, early June. But not a lot of time this year at the big league level. Gallardo falls behind 2-0.
Had a really nice play at third base to finish off that first inning. So certainly for the Astros, as they're trying to figure out exactly how they want to align things defensively without Correa. Anytime they want to give Altuve a day off, it's got to feel good to be able to slide that kind of glove over at third base.
He's also been a pretty good pitcher for them this year. They've used him a handful of times. That continued craze of position players pitching has overwhelmed baseball this year.
He's got 3 games under his belt, 1 this year, 2 last year. He's down 2 2/3. He's allowed just 1 run, 4 punch outs, and 1 walk, although he did allow a home run this season.
I didn't read the piece, but I think there was a story in the Wall Street Journal today about position players pitching.
D-mount so far this year? Was it getting into the...
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, the idea behind
sure
trying to protect other arms, I got to imagine.
Bouncer right side of the infield. Quick flip to second one. The relay in time. Double play. 4-6-3. And Gallardo out of trouble.
That really was a good combination with Gallardo and Davis, and he got that ground ball, and Profar does a nice job of shoveling that ball to Elvis Andrus, and an easy throw over to first.
To you by Budweiser, a legendary lager for legendary moments. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. We've played 2 innings. Rangers lead 1-0. And Adrian Beltre starts the 3rd inning with a flare out to right center, and it is cut down by Springer. 1 away. All right, time for a Chevy game break as we throw it back to John Radigan. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Johnny Rats. Big CJ fan, as we know.
Yeah, obviously.
Love it. Love that right there.
Yes, good to hear from Rick Renner. Here's Ronald Guzman.
I think he was just saying, in his own little sneaky way, who he wished was throwing it to the game break.
Could be.
This is understandable.
Guzman 0 for 1. And he pulls this one foul. Well, the next game break, just to appease him, I think it would be awfully nice if you would.
I mean, that'd be a fun game if you didn't know. We just kind of change it up every once in a while. That when you're doing studio, you really appreciate that. Guys goofing around, nobody telling you what's going on. Who am I taking it from? Don't worry about it. Figure it out. That probably wouldn't be very fair.
Ball and 2 strikes. Rangers got their run in the 2nd inning, but they left the bases loaded. In fact, they've stranded 5 runners in the first 2 innings. So Keuchel has avoided, let's say, further damage, but approaching 50 pitches already with just 1 out here in the 3rd inning.
You'd love to see the Rangers kind of continue to pile on. They did a nice job of getting Keuchel to get that pitch count up through the first 2 innings. It was 42 coming into this one. Adrian Beltre put a good swing on the first pitch of the inning, but it turned into an out. The one thing you don't want Dallas Keuchel to do is catch a groove. We showed you those numbers and the difference between first inning and then basically the rest of the game. So we were able to scratch that 1 run across the board, but you love the idea of driving up that pitch count.
Hard ground ball, second base, flagged nicely by Gonzalez. 2 away. That's a good defensive play. Well, time for our showstopper. Manny Machado continues to pay dividends for the Dodgers. This was last night in the 6th inning, and that one did not take long to get out.
Such an interesting trade deadline this year, right? So many things have happened kind of early. I mean, I felt like he got traded like a month ago. With everything else that has happened since then, so many other things going on. Obviously, Cole Hamels is one that has affected the Rangers, even Jesse Chavez. Both of those guys going to the Cubs in separate deals. Zach Britton has since been traded. Jay Happ has been traded. I love the idea of trying to pounce early if you can. Get that deal and find the guy you like. We'll see if there's going to be any real deadline deals, right? The ones that go, was it 4 o'clock Eastern they trade? They changed the time. It used to be midnight. I believe it's 4 o'clock Eastern now,
3
right?
3 o'clock Central, yep.
Is that Sunday already?
Yeah. No. Monday.
Monday.
No. Tuesday.
Yeah, told you.
Tuesday is
Pay
the
attention.
31st. What was the question?
A few days away. But that trading deadline, so it is 4 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. Last chance to get those pieces that you need, unless you can acquire a player that clears waivers or goes through waivers. That's part of the August trade deadline. But there's been a lot of action. The Astros have gotten in on that. Martin Maldonado, catcher that they picked up from the Los Angeles Angels.
There's Jeff Luhnow, their general manager. He has been reticent over the years to let go of his prospects in pursuit of other players. Well, 1-2-3 in the third inning. Keuchel settling in perhaps a little bit. We go to the last of the third. 1-0 Rangers.
As we head to the bottom of the third here at Minute Maid Park, and it is an interesting time of year with the trade deadline looming. Obviously, the Rangers on the selling end of things this season. And talking to Jake Diekman about just this time of year, he said, you know, it is strange. It's not normal, but it's part of the business. He's been in this position before. He says he just tries not to think about it. It's hard with a pregnant wife at home, having to think about those things. He said he just does his best to put it out of his mind, go out, try to do his job, and let the chips fall where they may. But on an interesting note, he said this will be my first time to play in the major leagues without Cole Hamels as a teammate. He said that's a little surreal.
Right, going back to their days in Philadelphia, and he came over in that trade in 2015. So at least for today, he has to handle things without Cole by his side.
It is kind of interesting. I didn't realize that and put much thought into the fact that he spent his entire big league career with Cole Hamels as a teammate. Maybe put a picture of him in his locker, right? Take it on the road and frame it. Miss you, buddy.
Well, bouncer by the mound up the middle. Snared by Andrews. The spin, the throw in time, and they get Max Stassi. Beautifully done by Elvis Andrews.
That was really fun to watch. Great play by Elvis up the middle, and a really nice play by Ronald Guzman on the back end. But watch Elvis go to his left. It wasn't hit hard, but he had a long way to go. He knew he had to get rid of it quickly, so he spins and he throws. And you'll see Stassi out of the box here. But good job here. Spin to get rid of it. Watch Ronald Guzman. He has to anticipate and see where he stepped to stretch. I mean, that is perfectly done. You know, you're thinking, as I always say this, as a first baseman or any position player receiving a throw, always expect it to be a bad one. You know you're going to catch the one that is right at you. But he made just a really nice adjustment once he realized that throw was going to be short, but he also had to stretch to make it happen. Didn't just try to pick it, but the stretch and pick, that was impressive.
One big out, and now Tony Kemp fouls off a strike. 1-1 the count to the Astros left fielder. The little fella can move a little bit. His on-base percentage this year, .393. It's highest on the club, 7th best in the American League, at least for those with a minimum of 150 plate appearances. So he's been getting on at a good clip. Not a ton of power, but he can leave the yard. It's 2-2.
You don't see a lot of that swing and miss. He doesn't strike out very often. The strikeout rate is below 10%. League average is 22%. So the idea of generating swings and misses against Kemp is certainly something that's a challenge. He got big there in that 2-1 count, though. He took a big hack. You mentioned not a ton of power, but it seemed like he was trying to leave the yard.
Oh, good breaking ball right in there. Strike 3 called. And second strikeout of the game for Gallardo.
Take a look at this pitch from Giovanni Gallardo. Perfectly painted at the bottom of the zone. Trying to go a little bit away, but that's all right. You'll take anything at the knees, and you see Kemp tracking it, but he knew that was a strike. And like I said, he doesn't strike out a lot. Right on cue.
I also don't think that was a breaking ball.
It'd be pretty awesome if you could throw a 93 mile an hour breaking ball.
But see, like, it does look like, and maybe it's just getting used to the angle a little bit. But it definitely looked like it was moving side to side on me, but it was.
Well,
did not.
Well, because he missed a spot too, right? He's trying to go away, and so that ball cut on him a little bit.
That's a corner.
What's interesting about Gallardo for me is that it's not a power arm. It's a good fastball, right? 92, 93. But his slider's high velocity, and it registers more as a slider than a cutter. We just saw one at 90 miles an hour. A previous pitch. And that's a fastball at 93, but the previous pitch to George Springer was a slider. And anytime you throw any kind of breaking ball or a slider that's at 90 and you're throwing 92 or 93 with your fastball, your first thought is, well, it's got to be a cutter then for sure. Just not a lot of differential. You would think a slider would be more like 85 miles an hour, but the one registers as a slider.
Well, it goes 2-2 now to George Springer. 2 outs, nobody on.
Good velocity range so far here for Gallardo. Fastball's touched as high as 94.
He gets another strikeout, his third of the night. And it's a 1-2-3 third inning for Gallardo. So in a 1-0 game, we go to the 4th. Rangers will be sitting the bottom third of the order. Calhoun, Kiner-Falefa, and Carlos Tocci coming up. Here, a Rangers fan hiding in the middle of everybody else. Maybe not hiding. Sunday, August 5th, Rangers and Orioles back at Globe Life Park, 2:05 game, and first 15,000 fans are going to be treated to a Ted Williams first Rangers manager bobblehead, courtesy of Sweet Baby Ray's. Tickets are at TexasRangers.com or 972 Rangers. Willie Calhoun leading off in this 4th inning. Calhoun struck out in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1. Keuchel a lot sharper in the last inning. We went 1-2-3 against Beltre, Guzman, and Chirinos. And we said it early on, when you face Dallas Keuchel, you want to try and get to him immediately, because as the game wears on, he typically gets a lot better. And so on a first pitch strike to 11 of the first 15 batters he's faced tonight. Calhoun fights him off here. Keeps the count at 1-2. The Rangers have fouled off a number of pitches against him. And he's getting close to 60 pitches for the evening already. On a little low, 2-2 the count.
And for Keuchel, he'll be a free agent at the end of the year, and so the idea of finishing strong after a little bit of a slow start to the season, I got to believe, is something that is on his mind. And he's looked good. I mentioned those last 7. We've talked about this month, how good he has been.
A little low again, and it's a full count. Yeah, it's going to be a big finishing 2 months for Dallas Keuchel, former Cy Young Award winner. They're looking to cash in the offseason, and it's part of the crossroads that the Astros will be heading toward now in these coming years, is their ability to keep some of these superstars as they become free agents, maybe deciding which ones they want to keep, and that's part of it, to whom they want to commit a lot of their resources. They recently, right before the year, signed Jose Altuve to quite the extension. Well, bouncer down the first base side, foul again, and Calhoun really making Keuchel work here.
So that's 1 as far as Jose Altuve goes, but you're right. I think it is going to be interesting to track the Astros and what they ultimately decide to do, and who do they feel like they want to take some risk on, make sure that player doesn't get away.
Calhoun on the 9th pitch of the at-bat takes a called 3rd strike, 1 away here in the 4th inning.
It's pretty good pitch. Tough take for Willie Calhoun, and the rookie against the veteran. Probably not going to get that call too often for Calhoun. And, you know, the one thing with Dallas Keuchel, you got to hang in there because of the late movement that he has on that two-seam fastball. It was a ball the entire way, and probably maybe caught a little bit of the corner at the tail end. Willie didn't think so.
Now 1 out, and now Kiner-Falefa rolls it down the third baseline. That's a fair ball. Should be extra bases. Going out from shortstop, Bregman corrals that one, but Kiner-Falefa with a 1-out double, and he's 2 for 2 tonight.
Well, Isaiah didn't think he was going to be playing this evening, but because Ryan Rua had some back spasms, some last-minute changes, and it's turned out really well here for Kiner-Falefa. Good job hitting this ball hard down the left field line. No chance for Davis, and a really heads-up play by Alex Bregman, who obviously knows this part of the field very well. And if a ground ball catches that little cutout, it's actually going to bounce toward the infield more than it will the outfielder. So that's a good heads-up play by him.
Tall man in scoring position. Here's Carlos Tocci. Tocci drove in the only run in this game in the second inning on a beautifully placed bunt. Got Chirinos home from third base. Puts this ball toward third, and boy, nice sliding stop, J.D. Davis. And he'll lap up and make a really nice throw. Tocci grounds out to third, but that hardly tells the story. Another sterling defensive play down at the hot corner.
Not only a really nice play with the glove, but a very impressive throw. J.D. Davis has got himself a pretty strong arm. You should watch him go to his right and hop up and just throw an absolute missile across the infield to get Tocci.
Saw some defensive help tonight for Dallas Keuchel. Now Chu, 0 for 2, reached on an error his last time. And he takes one on the inside corner for a strike. So in the final game of our series with Oakland yesterday, Chu went 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI. Also walked in the game. Ending that homestand, and maybe a sign that he's ready to get going again. Been a little bit of a scuffle lately. Our WinStar World Casino and Resort leaderboard. Oh, and Chu chooses to go the opposite way. He's been slugging at a 900 clip, and this is a great ballpark for him to go the opposite way. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, I think that tells you the story about Chu's swing this year. We've talked about it a lot, and his ability to get on base is one thing, and the pitch recognition and really commanding the strike zone, but he's been driving the ball to all fields, and it's not an easy thing to do, but for a guy that's 36 years old and still really strong, Chu has done that this year. And you're right, this is an ideal spot to look for something out over the plate. Try to drive those Crawford boxes. Pretty close.
Two and two.
But you can't go up there, and Chu doesn't, thinking, okay, I'm going to hit a ball in the left field here. I'm going to drive the ball the other way. Most hitters will tell you, kind of a general philosophy. You look for the ball middle away. You react to anything in. But you also go through the history of Dallas Keuchel. He's got a really good two-seam fastball. So if Chu's looking out over the plate and Keuchel throws that in, you can get tied up pretty easily. There was an attempt right there. That one missed down. So that's why you can't be leaning out over the plate, just looking and thinking you're going to automatically hit one to left field. It's all reactive. Watch where the glove is. They wanted to go belt high. That one finished down just below the zone.
Got another Rangers foul ball off Keuchel, who's over 70 pitches for the evening. 2-2. That one's tight, a full count.
That's the one he wanted. I love that pitch. I love left on left, two-seam fastballs that run in. It's such a difficult pitch to hit. This is what he wanted to do the pitch before. It ended up missing in, but not by much. It's a really good pitch to a left-handed hitter.
Two outs and a full count. Kiner-Falefa at second. Chu will see another one.
This happened last night to Chu. He fouled one off, and again, left on left with the kind of movement that Dallas Keuchel has. He sees this a lot from left-handed hitters. But using that two-seam fastball, very common for a hitter to hit the top half straight down, and poor Chu takes another one.
Well, this will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. We'll see yet another.
So that's been the good news, right? You mentioned the pitch count. It's at 74. Will be 75 after this pitch. But right now the Rangers only with the 1 run.
No gimme innings in the first 4 so far. I mean, Keuchel's 12 pitches in the 3rd, the best he's had so far. 3-2 pitch.
What a great at bat. So frustrating when you're a pitcher. There's been some good pitches in here that Chu has spoiled. Getting ready to see number 10 now against Keuchel. He has been pounding Chu in with that fastball. He's given him nothing middle of the way inside the strike zone.
There's the payoff. Up high, and that is ball 4. A 10-pitch walk. What an at-bat by Chu.
They really are fun to watch. I mean, first of all, fouling off all the tough pitches, laying off some ones that were really close. Chu has just been locked in that situation, seeing the ball really well against a tough lefty. But we showed you that 900 slugging to the opposite field for Chu this year. Dallas Keuchel certainly is aware of that. I got to believe that was the reason he didn't give Chu anything out over the plate that he could handle.
Brings up Profar. So far 0 for 1 with a walk. And he takes ball 1. Look at all those career highs set this year for Profar. Hits, runs, doubles, triples, homers, and RBIs.
He's really taken advantage of the time that he has gotten. 92nd game of the year. That's a career high. 90 was his previous high back in 2016. The at-bats, not surprisingly, all right there in line. But it's not just some more playing time. It's been really productive for Jurickson Profar.
Ooh, very close pitch. That one, Profar got at the bottom of the zone. 2-1.
Late movement on this changeup. I believe this ball fell out of the strike zone. This is a really tough call on 3-1 for Jurickson Profar. I mean, look at all the movement at the end by Stassi. He tells you everything you need to know about this pitch. Look where he started when he caught that and where he finished. You're not going to win that argument. It's a tough break for Profar.
2-1 pitch. Little roller off the handle. Slowly to short. And the underhand feed to second forces out Chu. So the Rangers leave 2 more. They have stranded 7 through 4 innings. But as we enter the last of the 4th, the Rangers do lead 1-0. Lime Summer Lager. Rangers leading to the bottom of the 4th inning, but that's the good news. The unfortunate news to this point is that they have perhaps not cashed in a little more aggressively on the runners they've had. They have stranded 7 men on base. That said, Gallardo has pitched really well to this point. And we'll see the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Houston. Bregman takes one right down the middle for a strike. Bregman flied out to center field in the 1st inning. He's 0 for 1. Got onto this one. Hangs up for a while out to center field, and Tochi is right there, one away.
Giovanni Gallardo's done a really nice job of keeping these Astros hitters off balance so far. We've seen a handful of these fly balls to center field and really throughout the outfield. He got the big double play. So far, so good. The quality of the contact has not been very solid against Gallardo. So it's a Reddick thing, obviously.
Yeah.
We see it around the league late in the game. Maybe as the game slows down a little bit, but what is that? That's from who's the wrestler? Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. That's his favorite wrestler. In the dirt, 1-1 to Reddick. He's always had good career numbers against right-handed pitching. And bends away from this one. I mentioned earlier, he's specific right-hander. Gallardo has been very kind to Reddick over the years. Although Gallardo struck him out looking in the first inning. I'll leave it at 2-2. Interesting numbers this year for Reddick. Batting average higher against left-handers than it is righties. Of course, power still better against the right-handed pitcher. And he swings and misses, strike three. So Gallardo has gotten him twice.
Good job here by Giovanni Gallardo to take a look at this pitch after going up and in with a few. He decides to bring the fastball away. A little bit of late movement on that thing as well, just off the plate, but a really uncomfortable swing as Josh Reddick almost seemed like he was looking for something in, which is kind of surprising. A very defensive, unbalanced swing there against the fastball.
So now Gurriel and pokes this one into the upper deck foul. Gurriel flied out in the second inning. Gallardo jumps ahead of him 0-2. Giovanni Gallardo has pitched well in this ballpark. 16 wins against Houston. Most wins against any team for Gallardo. This is outside, 1-2.
6 of those have come here at Minute Maid. 10 starts for him overall. 12 games. Pitched a couple games in relief here last year. You get guys that, we talk about this a lot. Certain places where you feel comfortable. Now he's been pitching for a while, so there were some struggling offenses that he went up against. Not to take anything away from what he's done there. There are the numbers. 12 starts. Mentioned a couple of relief appearances as well in there. But you get those mounds in places that you like. Darvish was pretty good here at Minute Maid. It seemed like he really liked it. As much as this is an outdoor sport, there are some pitchers that are very comfortable and actually enjoy pitching inside. Not having to deal with those elements sometimes is certainly something that can work to your advantage.
First full count against him so far tonight. And Gurriel outlasting, rolls that one into center field for a base hit. Just the second hit allowed by Gallardo.
A good at bat by Gurriel, and no harm, no foul here. Ground ball base hit up the middle and a pretty good pitch away. Gurriel's a good fastball hitter, but better to leave it out there against him because he does have that pull power, and this is such a great ballpark for right-handed pull power hitters. There's another one in Evan Gattis.
Gattis has the other Astros hit tonight. That was in the second inning. Gallardo 16-5 in his career against the Astros, and we're talking about his success here in this ballpark, which is good because This year, the home road splits for Gallardo, I mean, decidedly better at home. 3.93 ERA in his 3 starts back at Globe Life Park. The road, his ERA is closer to 7.5. So in as much as you figure he's going to make a start on this road trip, excellent that it fell here against Houston, where he has pitched well in his career.
Smart for Gallardo to stay away, just as I mentioned against Gurriel, who's got the great pull power. Evan Gattis is one of those guys, and we look at the last couple of seasons for Gattis, the home runs that he has hit. This is pretty fascinating, actually. He's been a guy that has hit now 31 home runs over the last 2 years, 1 to dead center and 1, I'd say, to call it the right field gap. Everything else has been well left to center field.
Now sitting in a pretty good spot now at 3-0. Dangerous hitter, dangerous spot. Taken all the way, and that's a strike. 3-1.
And right on the corner, too. Gallardo not messing around. We talk a lot about 3-0 counts and how much more aggressive hitters have become. And they're still not very aggressive, but they'll swing more on 3-0. And good late movement there, and that's paint on a 3-0 count. And you even saw where Chirinos was set up, so that was intentional. They weren't just going to throw a cookie down the middle.
Well, he walks Gattis. So a 2-out single, followed by a walk. And Gallardo will now have to deal with Marwin Gonzalez. Gets Chirinos out there for a quick conversation, maybe slow things down for a moment. 1-0, Rangers leading. Now the season series in the Silver Boot, those are going to remain with the Houston Astros. They have already won the Silver Boot this year. In fact, they have won 8 straight games against the Rangers in this series. It's the longest win streak the Astros have ever enjoyed against the Rangers. The longest win streak ever in this Silver Boot series, though, does belong to Texas, a 12-game winning streak. But A.J. Hinch, his team has had the upper hand in particular of late. Gurriel second, Gattis at first, and now Marwin Gonzalez, and he takes a high strike. Now, this year, the Rangers have enjoyed more success head-to-head with Houston in this ballpark. These two teams are 3-3 here at Minute Maid Park. It's back home in Arlington, where the Astros have really dominated. They took 9 of the 10 games played. 1-1 the count to Marwin Gonzalez.
It seems to be a lot of back and forth between these two clubs that kind of comes in bunches, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the way the Rangers were those first couple of years prior to these two. And it was just silly how much the Rangers had ownership over the Astros, and that script is starting to be flipped here a little bit by Houston.
Up high, 2-1.
It almost felt like for the Astros it was weighing on them a little. You could see, like, it almost, you certain times you're watching a game and you can watch an opponent, watch a team, and you feel like you're just waiting for something to go wrong, like it was inevitable that they were going to lose to the Rangers in one fashion or another. They certainly have broken through that here as of late.
Gallardo's 2-1 and leaves that one a little bit up. So some of the misses lately for Gallardo, it seems, have been up, which would be a secondary concern, or who knows, maybe even a primary concern. He's put a couple of men on here. If you are going to make a mistake to one of these hitters up in the zone, that's where more damage oftentimes can be done.
I think they've been unintentional too. A couple of breaking balls that have been left up, even one for a strike. I don't think that was on purpose.
3-1 pitch, and this one bounced foul. Oh, that's just it. I think give you a little cause for concern. Now only approaching the 70 pitch mark here. As the inning wears on and fatigue can begin to become an issue.
It's nothing for Gallardo. He pitched in that day game, right? Where his temperatures touched 108. Just, it's like being in the Antarctic right now. He's cold a little bit, maybe.
This one popped up out into right field. Not going to carry, though. Chu in front of the warning track and makes the catch. So the inning is done, and it was the Astros' turn to leave a couple on base. 4 innings in the books. Rangers lead 1-0. As we move to the 5th inning, good pitching so far tonight, really on both sides. Looking ahead on our progressive upcoming schedule, back out here tomorrow night and then Sunday afternoon. Final 2 games against the Astros this year, and then it's off for our only stop in Arizona, Monday and Tuesday nights. Fortunately, a little homestand to follow. So a little glance at what's coming up for the Rangers. And speaking of coming up for the Rangers in this 5th inning, it will be Andrus, Beltre, and Guzman. Gallardo got through that 4th inning, 33 pitches, and maintains the shutout. And now we'll see if the Rangers can reward him with some more support here. Andrus 0 for 2 so far tonight.
A couple soft pitches from Keuchel to start things off against Elvis Andrus. You saw 76 and right there 73. You kind of noticed this a little bit last couple of games on the homestand. Some pitchers attacking Elvis with more off-speed pitches than fastballs.
I thought Cleveland was really committed to that. You know, they hardly ever showed him a fastball in that series. And this one goes foul, 2-2 on Andrus. Elvis ended up 9 for 26 on the homestand, though. 346 average with a couple of homers. It's this ball out towards center field. Springer ranging to his right. And gone.
I think part of that and what you've seen from Elvis, and really more of what you've seen from opposing teams. He's hitting over 300 on fastballs, but coming into this one tonight, just 197 against breaking pitches. And so I think the disparity there is significant enough. And you can dig in a little bit more and look at things like exit velocities, hitting fastballs a lot harder. And that's not that surprising. I mean, generally you're going to see that anyway, kind of to a whole new degree. And so seeing a lot more off-speed pitches, breaking balls, is probably something that will continue for Elvis.
Now Beltre tap dances out of the way of ball 1. 1-1 the count. Has a hit tonight, is also flat out. It's this ball by short into left field. That's a base hit for Adrian. So the Rangers with another base runner in this 5th inning.
Take a look at the pitch here after you see the 2. One was way inside. This ball was left up unintentionally by Keuchel, and you can't do that to the future Hall of Famer.
Baseball's active hits leader. It's number 3,124 for Adrian. Sneaking up on Tony Gwynn.
Listen, all the names there, you start looking at the list, are all special, no doubt about it. Tony Gwynn, though, it's got to be a pretty special name, certainly for a guy like Adrian, but for everybody. I mean, just one of the greats when it comes to hitting. Talk about guys like Ted Williams and Tony Gwynn. Obviously, there's guys that were great hitters on that list, but there's other guys that just like hitting was their thing. They were so great at that, and Tony Gwynn was certainly that guy and so well respected. And when he does pass Tony Gwynn on that list, it's going to be a pretty special moment for Adrian.
Little bouncer first base. Grabbed by Gurriel. They'll go to second for 1. Nobody covering first base in time to get Guzman. Well, 3-6 force out at second. Really nice play by Gurriel. The Rangers simply replacing Beltre at first with Guzman.
An aggressive play, too, by Gurriel. You can certainly take the easy out at first, but he decided to go ahead and get aggressive and make that throw to second base. And it was a good one. And good job by Guzman to get down the line. Slow down there for a second, just because he knew nobody was covering. A little frustrated that he hit the top half of that ball, but he is certainly not the first lefty that Dallas Keuchel has done that to.
So with 2 gone, here is Robinson Chirinos. Dallas Keuchel has worked around a lot of base runners so far here tonight. Left-handers held the Rangers to 1 run. And the one thing about Keuchel coming in was the Rangers had to feel like if you're gonna score against him, you're gonna have to string together a couple of hits, maybe a walk or something, because he has definitely not been allowing home runs. In fact, he's been as stingy as anybody in recent memory. Throws a strike. He goes to 2-1. Hasn't allowed a home run in was 51 innings coming in. So let's see, 55 2/3 innings. Last one he allowed June 5th in Seattle. Gave up 3 home runs in that one. This one popped foul back behind the plate. We were talking earlier about him being a great sinker ball pitcher, ground ball guy, and I'd say that home run number is more evidence of that. Rangers scored that run in the 2nd inning, put an end to a stretch of 15 innings for Keuchel. Whoa, there's a swing and a high fly ball. Deep left, gone! Over the railroad tracks for Chirinos, a 2-run shot. And so the Rangers lead 3-0.
Well, Chirinos is swinging a really good bat right now, and I love the Dave Raymond hex that you put on Dallas Keuchel, talking about the fact that he just has not let up a home run in a really long time, but he leaves a pitch up here to the wrong guy. Good level swing, and Robbie knew it right away. He absolutely hammers this ball at Minute Maid Park. Talk about some cheap home runs that are available here. That is certainly not one. As he goes up on the train tracks. And now for Dallas Keuchel, we'll have to start a new streak. There's what, 220 batters faced coming into this game.
Without allowing a home run.
Without allowing a home run. You mentioned the innings. What was it, 50? Whatever your math was. Probably inaccurate. So we'll call it 50 something.
55 2/3. But it is no more.
Well, there you go. 1 home run. First home run allowed now in the last 244 batters, and really it could not have come at a better time as Dallas Keuchel's getting near 100 pitches.
This one fouled back out of play. They've had Brad Peacock warming up in the bullpen, so you had the sense that his evening was drawing nigh, and sometimes you just have to use those jinx abilities for the powers of good, not evil, and nice that it worked out as such. 1-2 pitch, bouncer foul again.
Well, I think it's nice that just as a broadcaster we have that kind of power, you know, the way that we can stop no-hitters and perfect games by talking about them, and then breaking up a pretty impressive homerless streak by an opposing pitcher. It's a pretty awesome power. You got to be careful how you use it. Pick your spots wisely.
It's good to be in control though as the pitch is low. 2-2 to count. Thank me later, Robbie. Well, he's been on a tear, though. Really swinging the bat well. 2-2 pitch. And that's a little bit, wow, that's on the corner.
That's twice.
Strike 3 called.
For Willie, that he's had some tough calls going against him.
So Dallas Keuchel may well be done. We know one thing for certain. The homerless streak is gone. Chirinos with a bomb up onto the tracks, and the Rangers lead 3-0. Rangers, and we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Just 2 hits allowed so far. And this one by Yovani Gallardo. So he's also caught a really nice game. Bottom 3rd of the order coming for the Astros. J.D. Davis, and he's swinging at the first pitch, and it's caught. Andrews getting way up to bring that one back, 1 away.
And we know this about Ranger infielders. They love to brag about their vertical among each other. And there goes Elvis Andrews showing the younger Isaiah Kiner-Falefa just how high he could get up. This ball was hit pretty hard, and Elvis goes full extension and pulls it in. And he may have exaggerated slightly as far as how high he jumped. We're not going to stat cast that. We'll take your word for it. He put it about, I don't know, a foot above his hips. I don't think he got that high. But high enough, that's for sure. He's still talking about it.
He goes after Stassi now. Jumps ahead 0-2. Max Stassi doing the catching tonight. Grounded out in the 3rd inning. Gallardo skips it up there. We mentioned earlier that the Astros had made a move. Yesterday they acquired Martin Maldonado from the Angels, a Gold Glove catcher whose offensive skills or production may pale a little bit compared to some other options the Astros can run out there. 2-2 the count. But you start thinking about why they would make that move. And obviously they're concerned right now. Brian McCann on the disabled list. No guarantee how or when he comes back. What he'll be able to provide, let's say in September or in the postseason. Stassi bounces this one to the hole shortstop, and Andrews throws him out, 2 away. But I think the other piece of it is with Maldonado, you have a guy who's really adept at throwing out base runners.
Very good.
Nearly 45% this year. When you think about who the Astros will see in the postseason, well, Indians and Red Sox, I think they're atop the American League in stolen bases. So it might partly be a look ahead just to the postseason to get Maldonado. And I mean, we'll see. I think the other part of it, as I understand it, is the Astros believe that if they play him maybe just a little bit less than he was playing in Anaheim, that they might see the offensive numbers come up a little bit.
Could be. He played a ton over there. He'd been an Iron Man behind home plate for the Angels. But the Astros are in that position where they can look to the postseason a little bit. Obviously, they still have to win the division, but I'm not sure they're going to be challenged very much in the American League West this year. And so the idea of trying to prep for that as you figure out what you're going to do to catch your position makes a ton of sense. Also, this team is rooted in pitching, especially starting pitching. And so getting a defensive catcher first is a really good idea because you have the kind of lineup that can make up for lack of offense in the catching position, right? You look at certain lineups and you may need a boost offensively. This Astros team right now really doesn't. Yeah, they'd love to have Brian McCann healthy and doing his thing on both sides of the ball, but they can afford to give up a little bit of offense at the catcher position, especially if that means an improvement in defense. And you can kind of play that plus-minus game a little bit. You should take a look at what the Astros have done, and it's not just that they're strong in the rotation. They're pretty strong in the bullpen as well. As you see, they are the only team in the top 5 in both of those categories.
Those are impressive numbers right there. 2-2 to Tony Kemp, a little bit high. It's a full count. Well, 2 out, nobody on, and Gallardo continues to spin a pretty impressive one tonight, coming off his 6th shutout in his last outing. Payoff to Kemp, and this one lined down to first, caught by Guzman, and the inning is done. And so another goose egg put on the board by Gallardo. We go to the 6th inning tonight. Rangers leading 3-0. Pleasure working with you tonight, as always. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leading things off here in the 6th inning for the Rangers against a new earler. Brad Peacock is on for Houston.
You see the right-hander coming on here in game number 42 for Peacock. Good year for him, not surprising. We just showed you those numbers for the Astros bullpen and overall how good they have been. 60 strikeouts to 12 walks, though, for Peacock. And see a fastball that sits around 93, slider, curveball, and changeup as well.
Well, he goes against Kiner-Falefa, who was 2 for 2 off Keuchel. Keuchel 102 pitches in his 5 innings tonight, so the Rangers really made him work. And now Isaiah takes 2 balls from Peacock. Peacock came in for that same spot. This time gets the called strike. Goes off another one. Well, when you look at so many of the teams in contention and how they're trying to improve their odds this year, many of them looking to bolster their bullpen. Houston built differently really than so many other teams. We just saw Oakland, and Oakland feels like they've got a shot, and they feel like maybe the way to get there is to work on the bullpen, add depth and strength to an already very key part of their team. This team, however, they're built on starting pitching. Their rotation's so good, so deep. A swing and a miss by Kiner-Falefa. He strikes out to start the 6th. You could look at their bullpen, but their bullpen's not bad. And they, once you get to the postseason, they might be able to pull some guys out of the rotation and add them to the pen as they did last year.
Could be the case. I mean, they are certainly deep enough in their rotation. You usually don't need 5 starters. So that's a possibility, but I almost wonder if they need it as much as they did a year ago. The roles really changed for them in the postseason last year.
Carlos Tocci, 1 out here in the 6th inning. One. Drove in a run in the 2nd inning, grounded out in the 4th. And this one up the middle, a base hit for Tocci. Continues to have a nice night.
Let's get to our Southwest Airlines player breakdown. Carlos Tocci just got that base hit. Good time to do it. We saw this safety squeeze, and it was a great job by Carlos to get that one down. Robinson Chirinos did a really nice job of running the bases. This was not a suicide squeeze. This was a safety squeeze, and you have to see the ball down before you go. And then here goes Carlos also with his base hit. We saw it a moment ago live, and so it's been a good evening for him. And got a couple of nice plays in the outfield. Well, more routine plays, but he's done a good job. But the difference between the safety squeeze and the suicide squeeze, the runner at third is taking off right away with the pitch. And you have to, as a hitter, make an attempt and get that ball down no matter what. And you don't get picky about it. You don't shoot the lines. You just got to get the ball down, and the runner will score easily. With that bunt, that safety squeeze, you're still not trying to shoot one necessarily down the line like you would for a base hit, but you have a little bit more room where you can go side to side. And Carlos got it down perfectly. It was really good base running by Robinson Chirinos.
2 balls, no strikes on Chu. Man on, 1 out here in the 6th inning. Tocci has attempted 1 steal this year. He was caught. And there's a strike. It's 2-1. Chu has reached on an error and walked. Lifts this one out to right center field. That could be trouble. It gets down and rolls to the fence. Tocci's got great speed. They'll wave into the plate easily. Chu's going to go for 3, and he is in there without a throw. A triple for Chu, and he makes it 4-0 Rangers.
And even getting some Chus here at Minute Maid Park as Ruben Odor gives Carlos Tocci a high five. Take a look at the pitch here from Brad Peacock and missed down and in. Always a dangerous place to go against left-handed hitters. And as good as Chu is at driving the ball the other way, we talked about that a little while ago, he certainly still has that pull power as he goes into the gap. And Tochi scores easily, and Chu actually gets into third pretty easily. No real challenge here on that triple.
So he's 90 feet away. And Jurickson-Profar high in the air out to center field. Springer gets in good position to make the catch and the throw to the plate, but Chu tags and will score without the throw. Sac fly by Profar. 5-0. And we check in with Emily Jones.
Well, just as you guys have the power to end no hitters and break up homer streaks, I too have some power. I picked Shin-Soo Chu's bat today. He allowed me to pick it.
What?
Yeah, yep. So I feel like I'm directly responsible for that triple, and anything else good that happens to Shin-Soo Chu the rest of the evening, the bad things I have no part in.
So wait a minute, he just said pick me out what bat you want me to use today?
Yep.
Now what went into it for you? Was it the
very little
level of
thought.
pine tar?
Very little thought.
Uh-huh.
No, I just picked one out of the bat bag, and then he said if he gets 2 hits, he would buy me a nice bottle of wine.
Oh.
So I'm pulling for 1 more hit today.
What about getting on twice? That doesn't count?
It doesn't count. Homer, we negotiated like a gift card to a really nice steakhouse.
Wow. At least get the bat. Worst case, once he breaks it eventually, whenever that does happen, that's a keeper.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or just take it now.
Or either way.
I mean, there's nothing but upside in that for Emily.
I feel like it's a win-win for me.
I mean, there's nothing you could do but win.
Wine, gift card. Is it your birthday? What's going on over here?
It's coming.
Yeah, that's a heck of a deal. Got to pick out the Savoy Special, right? Was that the bat in the natural?
I think I'm going to hang around.
Bobby, or I think it was the kid's name.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to hang around the dugout tomorrow. Ask anybody, hey, you want me to pick your bat out today?
Oh, I'll be loitering down there all day.
What are you guys offering?
Full count to Elvis Andrus. 2 out in the inning. 2 runs are in. So the Rangers now with a 5-0 advantage in this one. Peacock's payoff pitch and finds outside corner. Strike 3 called. Andrus is done, but the Rangers add 2. Shin-Soo Chu with his first triple of the year. Drove in one of them, then he came in on the sac fly. It's 5-0.
Time for our Ford game summary. We'll take a look at the good work of Yovani Gallardo tonight. He has been really excellent against this tough Astros lineup. See him finishing off Josh Reddick, producing a lot of weak contacts and pop-ups throughout the night as well. And so far for Gallardo, he has kept this Houston Astros offense in check, and he's going to try to do it one more time here. At least one more time here in the 6th. 82 pitches for a right-hander. That's all he needed so far to get through these 5 innings. And again, going up against the Astros, that's certainly always a challenge. No Jose Altuve, no Carlos Correa. Not that there's no shortage of good hitters. There certainly is. There's George Springer here stepping in.
3rd time through the order. 1-1 the count on Springer, who is flied out to center, also struck out Sonia. Now Springer talked about some of the damage he has done against the Rangers earlier on. And there's no doubt the Rangers have a lot of respect for what he can do. Hitting just .263 though since the All-Star break. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out to start the 6th inning. 1 away. Hey, Sunday, August 5th, Rangers and Orioles be the final game of that series, and country music group Lone Star will perform a post-game concert presented by Budweiser. Get your tickets at texasrangers.com/concerts. So 1 out here in the 6th inning. Alex Bregman 0 for 2. couple of fly balls to center field, and he takes a strike. Gallardo's been keeping it down. With the exception of that fourth inning where he started to tire maybe just a little bit. 33 pitch inning. And at the very end was leaving a few up. He's been down most of the night nicely. That one just beneath the zone, 1-1.
And you really have to be when you go up against a guy like Alex Bregman. He is really good with the plate discipline, does not chase pitches out of the zones. You get a look at the pitch count by inning for Gallardo, just that fourth inning where he needed 24 pitches, but did a great job of working around any of the trouble that he had. I mentioned Bregman, as far as trying to get him to chase pitches out of the zone really is a challenge. He does a very nice job in that regard. Just a 21% O swing percentage. And for those of you that watched the game on Tuesday night, we went heavy analytics. You know what O swing percentage is. Means you don't chase pitches out of the strike zone. There's your O. But that 21%, and to put that in context, league average 31%.
I saw the, in fact, I saw a bit the other day on Joey Votto, whose O swing percentage, 18%.
I was going to say, and that does that lead all of baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-2. And this ball lifted down the left field line, but foul. But a long strike.
And the other thing he does, and not surprising, you see the streak of getting on base in 27 straight games. That's the longest active streak in baseball. You're not chasing pitches out of the zone, and if you're not seeing pitches in the zone, then certainly you're going to walk. But you saw right there, Bregman's got a little bit of power too.
He takes just high. Full count. Got 13 home runs over his last 34 games. So Bregman dangerous. 3-2 pitch on the way, and that one's low. So he'll take the walk. First time he's been on tonight. That's 28 in a row for Bregman. Currently the longest active streak in the big leagues. And a little better than halfway towards Chu in his 52-game streak that has been the longest in Major League Baseball this year. Josh Reddick now. He struck out looking and struck out swinging, 0 for 2. We're talking last time he was up about how historically it's about 50 points higher against right-handed pitching, and that has been somewhat flipped this year. It's average much better against lefties than it is righties this season, though the power still there against right-handed pitching. Down in the dirt, 2-0.
It's kind of surprising looking in at what Gallardo has done tonight. You see now 95 pitches as Robinson Chirinos goes out to talk to him. Just 53% strikes. Doesn't feel like it. You kind of get a tempo and feel for the game and how he has been working tonight. He's done a great job of keeping the Astros hitters off balance. You mentioned what that base hit that Gurriel had was the first full count. Is that right? Did you say that at the evening?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so the strike percentage a little bit low here this evening for Gallardo. This season he has been at 59%. He's about 6% below what he has done this year, but we're 5 1/3 scoreless against the Astros, and doesn't walk very many guys. A couple of walks in there, 3 on the night. But it really hasn't felt like a guy that's throwing 53% strikes.
No, I agree. But I mean, I guess the important thing really here is that he hasn't had to work around too many base runners. He's allowed just the 2 hits. Now the Astros were 1 hit Wednesday in Colorado, that 3-2 loss to the Rockies. Prior to that, the last time they were 1 hit was by the Rangers on May 11th. As we take a look at our Southwest Airlines bullpen live look as Corey Guerin loosening up. That 1 hitter on May 11th by the Rangers, it was Hamels beating Verlander. Today though, just 2 hits so far. 2-0. And Reddick takes just right at the upper extreme of the strike zone. It's 3 balls and no strikes.
Now he's trying to go down. This one was elevated, but it did appear that it caught the top of the strike zone, but no call by home plate umpire Larry Vanover.
Mentioned earlier, Reddick has severely good numbers against Gallardo. It was 8 for 16 against him coming into play. And that one just misses as well. A couple of quality misses right there by Gallardo. And it's a 4-pitch walk to put a couple of men on base.
These are almost identical. You see pitch number 3 there on Fox Tracks, and there's number 4 a little bit further in, but as far as the height, about the same, and just a call that hasn't been happening tonight.
So a spot of trouble here for Gallardo. And oh, Jeff Bannister is going to make a move. So the walk to Reddick will do it for Gallardo. Allows just 2 hits. But back-to-back walks force his exit from the game tonight. Our Who's In, Who's Out pitching change, sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. Who's in? Well, Corey Guerin coming in. Who's out? Giovanni Gallardo, after an excellent effort in this one tonight, he leaves with a 5-0 lead. Some appreciation from his teammates. Giovanni Gallardo, 5 1/3 good innings tonight. Leaves with the Rangers up 5-0. There you see the line. Just 2 hits allowed, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Back-to-back walks, though, this inning force his exit. And here's Corey Guerin.
Right-hander comes out of the bullpen here for the Rangers. Of course, an acquisition from the San Francisco Giants. There's a look at the pitch arsenal: sinker, slider, changeup once in a while for Guerin. The slider really, though, has been the go-to pitch. A 158 batting average against on that pitch, and 27 of his 38 strikeouts have come on the slider this season.
Well, 2 men on base for Yuli Gurriel. And he takes one on the inside corner for a strike. Gurriel had the base hit in the 4th inning. Came on a full count pitch and flied out in the 2nd. Guerin checks the runners, in particular at second base. Bregman, long hold of him. And now puts a fastball on the outside corner. It's 0-2.
That's a good pitch. And Corey Guerin does work a little bit slow, a little bit deliberate. And I think for Gurriel, kind of caught off guard here. Thought he was actually going to call timeout. Good location right on the corner from Guerin. Good opportunity now to shoot that slider out of the zone to go for that strikeout. You got to be careful with breaking balls inside the zone to Gurriel, even from right-handers. He's hitting .273 against those pitches. He's slugging better than .400. He does have 1 home run on a breaking ball from a right-hander this season. That's the one that would sit in the middle of the zone. Now, with that being said, Corey Guerin throws him a little bit of a different arm angle. It's not your traditional kind of high 3/4 breaking ball that Gurriel probably most often sees from right-handed pitching.
Side 2-2.
Chirinos out there now. That's got to be, how many mound visits are we up to? Is that 4 for the Rangers?
I think 3.
At least 3. We saw Robbie out there a couple of times. Doug Roquel was out there once.
3, and they've all come in this inning.
Where are they? I know they're on the board here somewhere. You see them on the scoreboard anywhere?
Let's see. Oh, I think on a little running.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
There you go.
You should just look at my TV. It's right there the whole time.
Makes it a lot easier.
So after a couple of sliders away, good location. The 2-seam fastball, if you get it in, could be a good one for a ground ball.
use that. Just off the corner. Full count.
Tough spot here. This is an interesting pitch sequence. It's been a good one. This one just misses, so certainly a good idea if you can put that on the corner. Just a little bit further away than the fastball that was called a strike earlier in the at-bat. Fastball better than breaking ball here, at least in the zone.
Bregman and Reddick off second and first. The payoff from Guerin. Bouncer up the middle. Andrews has it. Backhand flip second. Barehand. Throw to first in time from Profar. The double play goes 6-4-3, and the inning is done. And what a beautiful twin killing that was. Elvis Andrews with a great stop. The nice little backflip. And Profar adding some pizzazz with a bare hand, turn and throw. Nicely done, boys. It's 5-0.
Let's get to our Coors Light refreshing finish, and what a play here to end this last inning. Corey Guerin saving that last fastball in. He'd worked Gurriel away, got the ground ball that he needed, and what a tremendous job by the Rangers defense up the middle as they continue to be so good at turning the double play.
Very impressive. Some good defense really on both sides tonight. It has been a fun one to this point. 5-0 Rangers lead. We'll try to add to that in the 7th inning. Will Harris pushes Beltre off the plate with a breaking ball. This is upstairs. Adrian's had a good day at the plate. A couple of base hits. Bouncer over the mound. Coming in for it, Marwin Gonzalez. He'll lob it over to first, one away.
Take a look at the numbers here for Will Harris, who comes out of that Astro bullpen. One of the few with a high ERA. Game number 43 for him. He does have 12 holds and a respectable whip at 1.29 and a better than 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio. His fastball will sit around 92 miles an hour and the curveball at 83. See the cutter, slider in there as well.
Well, Ronald Guzman 0 for 3, has scored a run, reached on a fielder's choice earlier. Hits this ball hard over first base, but foul. 1-1 the count. Guzman made his big league debut here back in mid-April.
And hit his first home run here, right? Wasn't it he and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa? Was that April 14th? They both hit their first big league home run in the same game, right? They had the first big league hit in the same game, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he had it.
Right.
He got his first hit on the 13th, that first game, and then the next game was the game where he had. You're right. He had a home run. I think to tie it, maybe like in the 9th.
And Isaiah hit a home run
in the 10th, which was a base hit.
Yeah. And Isaiah hit a home run in that game as well, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they had their first big league home runs in the same game. Now you're looking at me like that's a little risky. Maybe you should have researched that before you brought it up.
I mean,
I'm willing to bet.
I could believe it. Just swing and a miss.
Say you believe it. Say you trust me. It's like a trust fall. Your partner throws out a random stat. Hey, let's take a look at StatCast AI, which is powered by AWS on the Robinson Chirinos home run. This was a fun one. He got a ball up against Dallas Keuchel, and he hit it 104 miles an hour and 404 feet. It's a great job by Dave. I think that's what he said. I didn't quite hear exactly what he was saying, but my translation was great job by Dave to put the hex on Dallas Keuchel. Something like that.
An effective hex. There's no question about that. Guzman home run. It was in the 8th inning of that game on that Saturday. And you're right, Kiner-Falefa.
Why do you sound so surprised?
Had homered in the 5th inning.
What's with the surprised tone in that voice?
That is stunning. recall on your part.
I may have looked at it earlier real quick. I was 98.9% sure. Must have been fun to do this job years ago. There's really no way to check.
Oh, there was, though, right? You kept your book. I mean, that's
you could check, but nobody else could check. My point being is that we could sit here and lie all day long. There's something appealing about that.
Yeah, I hear you. 1-2. Chirinos, did he go? Yes, he did. Larry Vanover didn't need any help. He rings up Chirinos, and Will Harris effective in the 7th inning. Outstanding stretch here. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Rangers leading the Astros 5-0. I like the looks of that line right there. 5-0. Rangers on top as evening settles on Houston. I'm sure that traffic lightening up nicely. Wednesday, August 8th is the next Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Day. Rangers and Mariners, a 105 game. Tickets available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Inexpensive hot dogs. Good baseball. Can't beat it. Wednesday, August 8th. Took us 42 minutes to go 6 miles today to get to the ballpark. That was around 3:30 this afternoon as Evan Gattis leads things off here in the 7th inning. I know we get real impressive traffic up in the Metroplex. But I will say, man, nobody quite does it. Gridlock, that is. Quite like they do down here in the Bayou City. Guerin's next offering, and that one a little bit off the corner, and it's 2-0. Gattis, Marwin Gonzalez, J.D. Davis do this inning. Fastball a little bit low. Near misses. He's falling behind a good hitter here in Evan Gattis. There's a strike. Guerin got a big double play last inning to get the Rangers out of trouble and to preserve the shutout effort by Giovanni Gallardo. 5 1/3 shutout innings by Gallardo. And the 3-1. This one golfed high in the air out to left field. Could be trouble. It is gone. That gets the Astros on the board. The home run by Evan Gattis, his 20th of the year, and it makes it a 5-1 game.
I mentioned Gattis is such a good pull power hitter. This is where he hits his home runs, and Corey Guerin was working him away, and this pitch was away. But because Gattis had seen so many, he knew that he wasn't going to get anything in. He could go out there, try to hook a ball. That is exactly what he did. It wasn't a bad pitch at all. It was an 84-mile-an-hour slider down and away from Evan Gattis, but he was comfortable on some pitches at that part of the plate based on how the at-bat went.
So Marwin Gonzalez now with the bases empty. 0 for 1 with a walk. Gonzalez showing bunt there. 1-1. So Gallardo with those 5 1/3 shutout today, combined with his last start where he went 6 shutout. Nice little stretch now, 11 1/3 scoreless innings. That's the second longest streak by a Ranger this year. Jesse Chavez went 11 2/3 scoreless. That one stretch. Chavez now with the Cubs. And some activity out of the Rangers bullpen. Eddie Butler, the newest Ranger, just got here this afternoon, joined the team, and he may well get in the game here. Butler joining the Rangers from Chicago, part of the I guess return in the Cole Hamels trade that took place yesterday. It was approved. All the medicals and whatnot went through overnight.
It looks like possibly an opportunity to get thrown right in the fire for Eddie Butler. Let's see bullpen coach Hector Ortiz down there as well.
Butler threw in 8 games with Chicago and is one of 3 players the Rangers got back from the Cubs. One player we don't know his identity, will be named later. The other one, the minor leaguer Raleigh Lacey, the name. As Gonzalez swings and misses, and he strikes out for the first out of this 7th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. One out here. 5-1 Rangers lead, and J.D. Davis 0 for 2 so far, and he takes a strike.
Davis has played some very good defense, though. He's made a couple of sharp plays down at third base for the Astros. And that lineout was a ball that he hit pretty hard. It's interesting. You mentioned earlier, who will the Astros keep? And amongst their young players, unlikely they can keep them all when you think about George Springer. And
a bouncer at third base, Kiner-Falefa.
Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, right when the time comes. J.D. Davis is an interesting guy. I'm not sure how they feel about him offensively, whether or not he's a guy that can stick, but you see him as a third baseman. Carlos Correa is a star. But again, he's gone year to year contractually. A couple times he was renewed, didn't seem too thrilled about it. So if he's the guy that rides it out and takes it to free agency, certainly some options for other additions, but you could see maybe if J.D. Davis would be the third baseman, Alex Bregman the shortstop, a couple of years down the road potentially. I'm sure they run through all of those different scenarios, run their models, and still a couple of years away. So I don't think you're going to be able to get Carlos Correa locked up. I think it's too late now. I think he's going to go ahead and take it as far as he can. Go year to year and really try to cash in at free agency.
Pitch to Stassi, misses for ball, 1-1 to count. Although that said, and who knows how it plays out for anybody right now, but it does seem like this last offseason, the dynamics economically in the game really turned on a dime. I mean, that was pretty dramatic what we saw. So there could be some interesting things that emerge in the coming years that really affect how players think about free agency and how teams think about it as well. I mean, it was all but assumed really about a year ago that Elvis Andrus would take his opt-out in his contract because, you know, the money's pretty good. But after this last offseason, you figured, oh, there's no way. What we saw in the free agent market, Andrus, you figure, would just continue to honor his deal with the Rangers. But I don't know. You never know. The agents will drive some of that, and Major League teams certainly will as well. Should be interesting to see. Two out, nobody on for Stassi, who twice has grounded out to short. Guerin's 2-2, and a swing and a miss, strike 3. So a couple of strikeouts in the inning for Corey Guerin. He gave up the home run to Gaddis, but it's still a Rangers 5-1 lead as we head to the 8th.
As as we head to the top of the 8th inning with the departure of Cole Hamels. That does leave a spot open in the Texas Rangers rotation. And in order to fill that spot, they will go tomorrow with Ariel Jurado. He will face off tomorrow as we look at the Ford probables against Justin Verlander for these Houston Astros. Ariel he will make his second Major League start. And talking to Jeff Bannister, he said that this will not be a one-time thing. He intends to keep him in the rotation for the time being, depending on how things go, but they want to give him a little bit of a run in the rotation, see how he does.
Now looking forward to that tomorrow, see how Jurado looks. We know how that guy looks.
Let's hope he looks bad tomorrow. He's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he could stand to have a rough one. Wouldn't hurt his season. All right, Kiner-Falefa Perez, new pitcher for the Houston Astros.
4th game for him this year, and so you look at the numbers, you don't dig in too much necessarily for a guy like Perez, but you know this, he's got a really good fastball. It's been averaging 96 miles an hour this year.
He delivers that one right at the bottom of the zone to Willie Calhoun. Calhoun 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, a hat trick tonight for him. And he's seen some real tough pitches, not the least of which was that last one from Perez. Now 1-1.
Perez not a big guy, just 5'11", listed at 170 pounds, but you've seen it already. Pretty good fastball. Some sweet spikes.
High fly ball center field, playable for Springer. 1 down in the 8th. MLB at Bat is your #1 Rangers app. Customize your experience and take advantage of great features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, in-game highlights, stats, news, plenty of great things on there. Download it today. MLB at Bat. It's a beauty. 1 away for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Perez came up with Houston on July 11th and pitched against the Oakland A's. This ball hit well out to left field, headed toward the Crawford boxes and in, and Kiner-Falefa with a home run just into the boxes. It's 6-1 Rangers. 2/3 of his home runs this year have occurred in this ballpark.
We're just talking about the great arm of Perez and a non-issue for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Take a look at the pitch right here, and fastball located down and in, and Isaiah does a great job of getting the barrel out and this ball hard. Even though it didn't go deep, he certainly put a great swing on it. It wasn't one that he just kind of squeaked out because of some weak contact. That was a ball that was squared up. 97 miles an hour off the bat and 352 feet on the distance.
Wasn't in the lineup today. He's 3 for 4 with a bomb, and he's a triple away from the cycle.
So maybe that should be the play for Jeff Bannister going forward. The days that he wants to play Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, actually don't put him in the original lineup and then shove him in there with 30 minutes to go right before game time.
Unorthodox, but maybe there's something to it. A little bit in, 1-2 the count to Tochi. That'll make anybody smile. Perez, the youngest Cuban board pitcher to make his big league debut since Jose Fernandez debuted with the Marlins about 5 years ago. Fouled away. This guy just 22 years old. Tochi, meanwhile, also a young one. And he'll watch that one in the dirt. 2-2. Tochi, you know, look, we did not see him a lot when he was, you know, for several months of the season. He was very much a reserve. And now with Delano DeShields down at AAA Round Rock, he's getting some pretty steady playing time. There's never any indication that he was going to be a real strong hitter this year. But now that he's had some opportunities, I mean, he's turning in productive at bats, and several a game now.
Yeah, so far so good. He's looked pretty comfortable, and every hitter will tell you the consistency of at bats is really important to try to show what you can do and get comfortable, and especially for a guy who comes over as a Rule 5 draft pick and comes over to a completely new organization.
This one gets away, and a strikeout is going to result in Tochi being on base.
Wild pitch or pass ball? What do we got here? We'll take a look at the replay here first. The pitch from Perez. One missed its spot by a pretty good amount. Ball was in off the plate. Clearly a ball, but not in the dirt.
All right, and usually that's a pass ball, but
opposite side though, hard pass ball.
It's pass ball. Yep. Officially. Tochi is on, and the pitch to Chu off the plate.
It's number 7 for Stassi this year. 7th pass ball of the year.
It's been another pretty good night for Chu. Emily Jones needs a base hit here for a bottle of wine. 1-1.
So Perez had some pretty interesting comments. This story is kind of a fascinating one. Came over from Cuba, was signed in 2016. The deal was voided by the Astros. They originally gave him just over $5 million. They did not like what they saw in some MRIs, I guess, in their physical exam, and so they dropped the deal to $2 million. So Perez lost quite a bit of money, and he was not happy about it. And he let them know that he was not happy about it. And he said that he felt like he was abused by the system. The Astros have a little bit of a history with backing out of some amateur signings because of injuries.
Boy, this one hit well out to center field, but Springer able to track it down just in front of the wall. Tochi returns to first base. 2 away. Gave it a ride. Well, that'll give us a moment now. Let's hear once again from the good folks at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Well, Emily Jones will go thirsty this evening.
Yeah.
But I say that about the Astros in the history. Brady Aiken, first overall pick. Didn't like what they saw in the MRI and backed off of the original offer, and he ended up not signing. It's one that did not reflect very well in the Houston Astros, the way that situation was handled with Aiken, who I believe was 17 years old at the time. They made a last-minute offer, and the clock was ticking, and not necessarily a great PR move, but one that worked out really well for the Astros, because the next year, because they didn't sign the #1 overall pick, they got the 2nd pick in the draft, and that turned out to be Alex Bregman, who was taken 2nd in the draft that year.
So I say Perez was pretty fired up about it.
Yeah, I had a couple of comments about it, just not very happy. You know, the way that he phrased it, he said he just felt like he was abused by the system. That was his quote.
So you had a deal in place for like $5 million.
5.15 million. That was the original contract. But after they conducted a physical, they voided that deal.
It's interesting. So those, you come to an agreement, and all of it kind of like we hear, you know, based on, you know, the physicals or the medical records coming back, just like the trade with Cole Hamels. You know, the trade was done, the deal was in place based on medical clearance. 1-2.
And Perez was trying to make a case that because they voided his deal, that he should not be subject to the international signing rules. Of course, there's restrictions based on his age. Under 25, then you fall into the category, much like we saw with Ohtani, the international signing rules. I mean, you can't go over your pool without getting fined, or not fined, but facing those penalties.
Interesting.
He's got a good arm. You can see why they would want to get their hands on him. His first opportunity here at the big league level, but you think about the journey for so many Cuban players, how incredible that is. This is 2016. We thought he landed a deal for just over $5 million. Because the Astros were concerned about the elbow, they backed out, but eventually did sign him.
This one in the dirt, runner going, and the throw down is sent it in time to get Tochi. So the inning is done. Stassi guns him down to complete the inning, with the Rangers add a run. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa with his 3rd home run of the year into the Crawford boxes. And the Rangers lead to the bottom of the 8th.
All brought to you by T-Mobile, and this guy seems like he is built for baseball. We'll see a nice play here defensively, but good hustle by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Then it was the double after that single, and then the big home run, number 3 of his career, and second one here just did get over that scoreboard in left field. I would agree that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is absolutely built for baseball. It's been a lot of fun to watch him this year, and he's going to get to watch a new Ranger pitcher as Eddie Butler takes over, 9th game of the year. Butler just acquired in the Cole Hamels trade yesterday.
27 years old, went 1-1 with that 4.08 ERA with the Cubs. 7 walks, 11 strikeouts in his 17 2/3 innings. And he just misses the Tony Kemp 2-0. He was actually a 35th round pick back in 2009 by the Rangers, but he didn't sign. Instead, 3 years later, the Rockies would come back and draft him in the 1st round in 2012. Pitched for the Rockies in the big leagues 2014, 15, and 16 in the last 2 years with the Cubs. So a guy the Rangers had coveted going back to 2009. He walks Tony Kemp.
And a guy that has been a starter throughout most of his career, so the bullpen is relatively new for him. You'll see a 4-seam fastball that averages 93, a 2-seam fastball also at 93. There's a cutter that he's been using 19% of the time this year, an occasional curveball and a changeup once in a while, but for the most part you see the 4-seamer, the 2-seamer, and the cutter from Butler.
Breaking ball into Springer for strike 1. George Springer 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And on here in the bottom of the 8th inning. This one hit through a vacated right side of the infield. Springer has his first hit of the night. Kemp stops at second.
Take a look at this pitch here from Butler after he gets ahead 0-1. Goes back to what looked like another one of those sliders, and one that was actually much better located down and away. It's a good job by Springer to find a hole on the right side.
Jose Leclerc getting ready now in the bullpen for the Rangers. Two men on, nobody out. Eddie Butler now looking at Alex Bregman. Bregman 0 for 2 with a walk. Now, so far tonight, you look, the Astros haven't had a lot of opportunity. The one run they've scored, it came on the Gaddis homer. They're 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And that one in there for a strike. It's been a big year for Bregman. And he emerges as more and more a critical member of this team. I mean, he was huge last year in the postseason in particular. But this year, as an everyday guy, starting to put up some pretty big numbers. Butler, in his Rangers debut. Boy, could he use a ground ball right here. With Kemp at second, Springer at first. Back away.
Always tough coming in, making your first appearance, new team, the day you fly in. Kind of a lot of emotions, a little bit of anxiety, I'm sure, for Butler as he goes through this. You always want to make that good first impression. Coaches, your teammates, these are all things that you think about, and you get a really tough Astros line to start it off.
Well, that's going to help right there. A pop-up out into short center field. Nobody able to move up on that one. One away. Hey, Friday, August 3rd, Rangers and Orioles, a 7:05 game. The first 15,000 fans are going to get an Eric Nadel 40th anniversary microphone, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Kroger. Your tickets are available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. There's Eric. The Hall of Famer. Now Reddick hits this ball hard out to right field, and shoot, right there. A line out for the second out of the inning.
If there's ever a pace of play committee, I believe that Eric Nadel deserves to be on it. I don't know if we have. I know we have a rules committee, but Eric's put a lot of thought into pace of play and cares a lot about it. Throw that out there in case it ever opens up. They're looking for somebody.
Just to give you a little bit more perspective on Radford, it's not too far from Blacksburg.
Hicksy sneaking in there
with a little Virginia history, it sounded like.
This one fouled over to the right side by Gurriel. Yeah, Eddie Butler, born in Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm guessing that's where that conversation came from. Then he ended up going to Radford University in Radford, Virginia, after the Rangers had drafted him in 2009. After 3 years at Radford, then the Rockies stepped in. One strike pitch to Gurriel. Fly ball, center field. That ball well struck, but that's a deep part of the park. And Tochi can patrol it pretty well. Inning is over. So Eddie Butler puts up a goose egg in his Rangers debut. And it takes us to the 9th inning with the Rangers up by 5. Is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Shiner's Sea Salt and Lime Summer Lager. (6-1) Rangers on top, 9th inning now. Let's see if they can add a little insurance in this 9th inning. 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. And Chris Davinsky, the new Houston pitcher, is the 4th reliever used tonight.
Yeah, and a guy with a good arm fastball will sit around 94 miles an hour. He's got that unusual delivery where he kind of opens up a little bit. You see the better than 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio for him coming out of the pen. And
well, first pitch swinging. Profar hits this one deep out to right field. Gone into the bullpen. And Profar does add some insurance for the Rangers. It's 7-1.
I'm really glad I stopped myself. I was about to say Davinsky's been great against left-handed hitters, but not against Jurickson Profar as he jumps all over a first pitch from the righty. We'll take a look at it. It looked like a fastball up. Indeed it was. That's exactly where they wanted to throw that ball. Look at the glove. And Jurickson Profar will take that every time as he hits that ball into the bullpen of the Houston Astros.
There's a ground ball through into right field, a base hit for Elvis Andrus. So quite a rude greeting by the Rangers in this 9th inning. And the 7 runs so far tonight ties the most the Rangers have scored against Houston in a game this year. Not done yet. If Bat Boy had a little trouble finding Elvis's bat, he helped him out. Well disguised. So here's Beltre, already with a couple of hits. Good night offensively for the Rangers. 7 runs on 11 hits. Early in the game, they had stranded some runners. 2 in the first inning, the bases loaded in the second inning, 2 more in the fourth. Since then, they have cashed in. 1-1 the count on Beltre. Rangers could really use a little lift after that series with Oakland. Beltre in a hole, a ball and 2 strikes.
Kind of interesting looking at Dubinsky's year. I mentioned he's good against lefties, and he has been. He came into tonight just 188 batting average against lefties, but 5 home runs he's allowed this season. 4 of those have been from left-handed hitters. So even though the batting average is significantly lower, 4 out of the 5 home runs he's allowed have been hit by, and now make it 5 out of 6 home runs by left-handed batters. It's like an all or nothing kind of deal for him, because he has struck out 25 lefties and only walked 3.
It's 2-2 to Beltre. This one hit through into right field. That's a base hit. Wow, what a start to this 9th inning. 3rd hit of the night for Adrian Beltre. Gives him 3,125 hits.
Good job here by Adrian, staying inside this pitch. I mean, that ball is up out of the zone. Talk about guys who are good bad ball hitters, means they can handle pitches out of the strike zone well. Adrian is absolutely one of those guys, and protecting in that situation, he's able to lace that pitch into right field. It's hard to get to that ball up in the zone like that. Forget about trying to get on top of it. So this is what's interesting to me about that, why I brought up about Dubinsky and the numbers, is because there's 2 lefties down in the bullpen right now. Tony Sipp, and you saw Perez already in this game for the Astros. And part of it hasn't been a big concern for them because they have their righties that they like that are good against lefties. But you always feel comfortable about having that at least one lefty down there that you're really confident in. Maybe he has the big breaking ball that can make left-handed hitters uncomfortable. So I just wonder here for the Astros, with a couple of days to go before we get to that trading deadline on Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, if they would like to get themselves maybe a left-handed arm down in that bullpen. It'd be tough to come by, one that you feel really, really good about. Perez has got a nice arm, he just doesn't have the experience. Kemp's been kind of an up and down guy for them. Oh, excuse me, Tony Sipp has been an up and down guy for them.
Pitching better lately.
Yeah, definitely. This year's been improved. I wonder if that's an area for them that they may want to address. They were in on Zach Britton. Last year. They tried to sign Andrew Miller when he was a free agent 3 years ago. So they've been on the lookout for that dominant lefty. They just haven't had any luck getting him. 2 shots in a row at Zach Britton at the trading deadline that fell through.
Two-strike pitch. Now it bounces up there. Runners will hold. Yeah, you would think that that would be at least a part of the agenda. We'll see. They have been historically, at least under Jeff Luhnow, they have been a little slower to make some of those moves. That guy, A.J. Hinch, usually pretty clear about his intentions or desires. Good little help here or there. Hard to argue with the success they had last year. 1-2 pitch, little tight. Moving things up on Guzman. He's 0 for 4, but with a run scored tonight.
Isn't it interesting though that for the Astros, the things that they would have been hesitant on have been the ones that have made all the difference for them these last couple of years? signing veterans. Josh Reddick, Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann going into last season. Trading for Justin Verlander. Those 4 moves right there, you would have said a year before, no, that's not what they do. That's not part of what's happening here in Houston. That's not part of the rebuild in the program, and even when they're ready to compete. They had to go to what you might look at as a traditional way of running a ball club and bringing in some older players and making some moves. And it's tough. I get it. When you build your system up well and you feel like you got yourself some good young prospects, the idea of trading those guys away for either some short or even longer term rentals it's tough. You love the idea of developing your own players and controlling them the way they have with Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman. But the temptation now, they're somewhat playing with house money. They got their World Championship last year. Now it's okay. Well, do you want to go on a run here? They certainly are built to do that. But will you take that chance one more time? I mean, they really came out on the right end of the Justin Verlander deal. I know it hasn't even been a year, but I think it's pretty safe to say that's a win for the Astros.
I don't think there's any arguing that. 2-2. Even last year, I think they were targeting Garrett Cole at the trade deadline. Did not get him at the time. Then ended up getting him in the offseason. This ball hit up the middle, base hit. Guzman with another great at bat. He gets Andrus to the plate. Beltre heading to third. The throw goes over to third base, and it allows Guzman to advance. The Rangers add to their lead. The home run by Profar. Now the RBI single by Guzman. It's 8-1.
Not only some great hitting, but some great base running here by the Rangers as Davinsky continues to struggle, and Guzman comfortable in this ballpark as well with a big base hit. There's that good Ronald Guzman swing, and he's able to catch his ball out front. And watch the base running here. You saw a little bit of a freeze first by Adrian Beltre, but then going first to third and maybe catching Springer off guard. Then he doesn't hit his cutoff man. That's a good read. Look at Guzman. You pull up a little bit, you watch the throw, and as soon as you realize that ball's going all the way to third, you take the extra base. So nice job by him as well.
So Davinsky has faced 4 hitters and given up 4 hits, including the home run. Chirinos has had a huge night tonight. Double and a run scored in the second. The 2-run homer in the 5th inning. He fouls this one back. It's 1-1. So this was the 5th inning. And you can talk about those Crawford box seats. This went way over the Crawford box seats, up onto those railroad tracks. The big boy home run by Chirinos. Side, did he go? No.
Nice opportunity here for the Rangers to add on. The infield's in with these runners at second and third, nobody out, and Davinsky probably not long for this game.
Field in. There's a strike to Chirinos. 2-2. Tony Sipp trying to get ready in a hurry down there for Houston. A.J. Hinch would certainly love to avoid having to use another pitcher in this one. Already down by 7 runs. The Rangers not letting up on Davinsky. And they have really quieted this sellout crowd. 9th sellout this year here at Minute Maid Park. 42,592 was the announced attendance. And there's ball 4. So the bases are loaded. May go from a silent home crowd here to an upset home crowd at some point. Stassi walking out there, and burning one of those mound visits to have a pretty frank conversation with Davinsky.
It's really amazing how that has become a non-factor.
The mound visits,
right?
yep.
A lot of talk about it this offseason. It really has not been an issue at all.
Nope. Well, A.J. Hinch striding out there to make the move, and Tony Sipp was indeed ready, and here he comes. So the left-hander coming on with the bases loaded, nobody out. And even still in this 9th inning, the bases loaded, nobody out. Hey, Fox Sports Southwest, the Texas Rangers are going outside the box this summer. Next up, Outside the Box is focused on the Rangers' efforts in giving back to the community. Join us for a special broadcast on Tuesday, August 7th against the Seattle Mariners. Some other ones coming up behind the Lins, front office, a Little League night. A lot of fun stuff planned. Well, what a spot here for Willie Calhoun. Bases loaded, nobody out, and a chance to salvage the night. It has been a rough one for him. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
I'm sure for Willie, he's thrilled as he sees everybody hitting and beating up on Chris Davinsky a little bit that they go out to get the lefty to face him.
Sips 1-0. Down low, 2-0. So a great hitters count. You look at Sips' numbers this year.
He's had a really nice year, bounced back well. He's done a very good job against lefties also. That is his main job, 125 batting average against, but he's been respectable against righties also.
So this Astros bullpen having a little trouble tonight. We talked about maybe the need for a lefty, and looks like the Astros have gone out and made a deal tonight for a right-hander, Ryan Presley of the Twins, being reported as traded to Houston. Astros sending a couple of minor leaguers back to Minnesota. Yeah, Ryan Presley now traded to the Astros, so they get a little help for their bullpen. 2-2 pitch. This ball hit high in the air, out to right field. Not going to carry. Reddick in a good spot to make the catch. Tagging at third base. Beltre thought about it, stutter stepped, and now he comes home. So Beltre scores. Sac fly by Willie Calhoun. 9-1.
And Willie will take it. You want to put a good at bat together in that spot, and he certainly did. And take a look at this fly ball here and how Josh Reddick reacts to it. If he thought maybe, he looked up and no hesitation, but just decided to throw it to the cutoff man. Took no shot. Very interesting. I don't think he threw to second based on what Adrian did. I think he just decided to throw to second.
Yeah, it looked like that was his plan all the time. So 3 runs in the inning. Guzman stayed at second, Chirinos at first, and Kiner-Falefa. I kind of chuckled in the 8th inning when he hit the home run that he was a triple away from the cycle.
Oh man,
because it didn't seem real likely that he would get another opportunity, but here he is. Takes a strike, 1-1.
In these kind of situations, if you put the ball in play, you just keep running, no matter what. Don't stop until you get to third base.
One. And that is strike 2. 3 runs in the inning. The Rangers have sprinkled runs all over this ball game tonight. 9 runs on 13 hits. Sips 1-2. And this one over short. Could be trouble. Drops in, base hit. Guzman striding around third. He'll score. RBI single for Kiner-Falefa, 4-hit night. The Rangers are in double digits. It's 10-1.
That really is amazing, and what a night for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who was not scheduled to start tonight. And see that pitch down and away. Good movement off the plate. Like the changeup from Tony Sipp, and a good job by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to stay on it. Guzman takes his 6 steps to get home.
So a 4-run 9th inning. Now Carlos Tocci. Well, the Angels put up 14 runs on Houston last weekend in Anaheim. That was in Sunday's game. The Astros came in with a 5-game lead over Seattle. 5 games is not really that large a lead, especially when you consider, the Astros can't feel terrible about the way they played. They're 30 games over 500, for crying out loud. But Seattle and Oakland really right on their tails.
It's one of those things, and you're right. The lead is not insurmountable. I think there's something about looking at the rosters and looking at the teams that we were just talking about it earlier. Well, you feel like, well, yeah, of course, this is the Astros division to lose. That really just, did that hit the microphone directly? That was pretty loud in my ear.
Might as well just hit you right in the head.
Would have felt better.
Oh, stop it. What is their problem back there? We don't need to see that again. Yikes. Two 2-1 pitch. Finds a corner.
So with Ronald Guzman and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting their first home runs in this ballpark, I mean, we got it. We got to see Carlos Tocci do it, right? I'm not saying necessarily right here. How cool would that be if all 3 of those guys hit their first big league home runs here at Minute Maid?
I don't see why he couldn't do it right here.
I mean, he could do it right here. I'm not taking anything away from him. Obviously, Tony Sipp is being pretty careful with Tocci right now. He just threw him a 3-1 split finger. Didn't want to give in.
Full count offering. Ground ball. That one is throw into left field. Base hit. Rangers will go station to station. They're loaded once again. And it's a multi-hit game for Tocci.
Good job, Carlos Tocci. We have seen him plug this hole a couple of times now with ground balls to the left side. You start to wonder if he'll get pinched there a little bit by some defenses, but that's at least 3 hits over the last couple of days that have been ground balls in the hole.
Well, the beat goes on. Another opportunity for Chu.
How about this?
Oh,
yes, Emily Jones.
A little bottle of wine on the line here.
This one, she thought she was going to go thirsty. The Rangers rallied just for her. Probably need to catch everybody up.
Now Roy Hobbs went to Emily before the ball game today, said, pick me a winner. She consulted. Bobby Savoy came up with a bat for Chu. Now Chu asked her to pick out a bat, so she did. Said 2 hits, give you a bottle of wine. Now he's got one of them, a triple back in the 6th inning. He's also walked. Emily, the bat whisperer. Seems she came up with some magic. They're loaded right now. One and 2.
When this kind of thing happens, and listen, baseball players are incredibly superstitious. Willie Calhoun had that nice sac fly, but he's the only Ranger without a hit tonight. If I'm him, I'm tracking Emily Jones down tomorrow with all your bats in hand. Which one is it?
Where are they? Where are those hits hiding? Are they this bat? Well, this will be the 40th pitch of the inning. She takes outside, 2-2. You don't even have to be superstitious, really, if you've watched anything this inning. Just even if you're a little stitious, you would probably go to Emily tomorrow.
Yep, I'm with you. Do it.
Rolls it, first base side, and a high hop to Gurriel, and he comes to the plate a little bit late.
What in the world?
Did he touch first? I thought he just threw right to the plate.
Oh no, he did touch first. Okay, yeah.
He had to. It'd be better, huh?
Well, he's playing back, but that's right. Okay, I thought he threw that ball before he touched the bag. But you're right, he did.
He got it.
And take a chance there, and didn't quite work out.
He was back far enough, and he got that throw off quickly enough. I almost wondered if he touched it, but he get the force out. Run scores, and by the way, that run, Chirinos touching the plate. That run charged to Davinsky. You can now, at long last, close the book on Davinsky. 5 runs charged to his line. This ball grounded foul.
Oh, what?
Chu picked up the RBI with that ground out, and now Profar, who started the inning with a home run.
So if you're Emily, you can go back with the walk in the 4th inning and the RBI ground out to go along with the triple, the RBI triple, and the run scored to maybe plead your case.
Try and haggle yourself into that bottle of wine. 0-2. Of course, state of the game where it is, you could just go to some of the peripherals. Let's go to exit velo and whatnot. I mean, you squared up some balls today. Let's look at those.
Get a StatCast report ready to present to Chu tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Video and pie charts.
Off the plate, 1-2. Still 2 runners out there. Sippas come on, he got the sac fly, but then gave up a couple of singles, an RBI ground out. (11-1). Well, that will do it in the 9th inning. The Rangers will take the 5 spot, though. A 10-run lead.
It all started off with Jurickson Profar's home run. It seemed like it was a while ago because it was. The Rangers sent 9 more hitters to the plate after this one. Big smiles from Profar.
7-1. Rangers with a commanding lead here. And they will give the baseball to Brandon Mann for this 9th inning.
Take a look at the pitch arsenal for Mann. The sinker, slider, changeup mix, 92 miles an hour on the fastball. An opportunity here for Brandon. That game where the Rangers gave up the 8-run lead, Brandon had come in, walked a couple of hitters, and got himself into some trouble. So redemption time for the Ranger lefty.
And he'll see Gaddis to lead things off. Sure what that was.
What happened there?
I guess he was just goofing around.
Oh, strange. By the way, for Davinsky, you mentioned what a bad night this turned out to be for him. He did not retire a hitter, allowed 5 runs. He watched his ERA go from just over 3 when he came in that game. It was a 3.03 entering today. It's now a 4.19. As a reliever, those kind of outings, they're just really difficult to recover from a ERA standpoint. It's one of those deals you just put them behind you. You don't worry about it. Can't think about your ERA. It's certainly not the most important thing. Put up over a full point here as we get ready to enter August. We've got some innings. It's one thing when it happens early in the year. Your ERA is going to fluctuate a bunch as a reliever. was a tough one for Chris Davinsky.
Man's 2-1 pitch. Boy, this ball belted out to left field, but it will go off the facing of the Crawford boxes. Throw goes back towards second base, and Gaddis has a long single to start the bottom of the 9th inning.
Take a look at this pitch for a man. You want to make sure you stay in the zone. He's trying to go middle away. That ball sat middle, maybe even cut back over the plate a little bit. Gaddis put a good swing on it. That's one thing I don't love about that scoreboard out there. You see the bounce there, and really Calhoun had to be ready for it. There always a chance that you're going to get an inconsistent bounce.
Oh,
because of that wall not being flat. I don't love that.
See, that's exactly what I love about that wall.
Really?
Yeah. High pop up. Active home plate. Chirinos. He's there. And one away.
It's a great play. Thought this one was going to reach the stands. Not easy. Way up there. Good focus by Robinson.
Yeah, that wall out in left field, the scoreboard, you'll see sometimes balls hit off one of those panels where you'll have a number or a letter, and those will be really dead bounces off that. Now those girders in between, or those framing pieces, you hit it off one of those, it can come off really hot, or as you point out, it can come off at an angle, and it is completely unpredictable out there. And so if you're going to have a really tiny area to cover, I mean, why not make it interesting?
Like you're in a pinball machine.
Yeah. Well, one out. J.D. Davis takes a strike. Davis 0 for 3 today. Tonight was just his second start of the year at third base, and we've commented a couple of times. He made some really nice plays over there. Bounced into a double play, though. He's lined out and grounded out. And that one upstairs, 2-1. The Rangers trying to hand the Astros their worst defeat of the year. This 10-run margin would be the largest margin in defeat for an Astros team this season. Ball hit out to left field. Calhoun will look up. That one is up against the wall. Gaddis into third base, so they'll stop him there. The throw goes back into the middle of the diamond. So second and third with one out. Not going to lie to you, CJ, you can get some really weird bounces off that bullpen area out in left field as well. You hit the bricks, the padding, the fencing.
Yeah, there's a lot of quirkiness to this ballpark. Now they got rid of the hill in center field. I thought that was a really good idea. I didn't love that either. But yeah, certainly a decent amount of quirkiness as far as what happens in the outfield. Right field, for the most part, plays relatively straight up. But there's the new replacement.
And there's Martin Maldonado, pinch hitting. And he swings and misses. So Maldonado traded from the Angels to the Astros yesterday. This is his Astros debut. He had some success against the Rangers while in an Angels uniform earlier this year. It's 0-2.
I always wonder about that, how much that plays into it, where a team watches a player come through, beat up your own club a little bit, and you think, I really like that guy, regardless of what he does around the rest of the league. We know he's a really good catcher, but for guys that have good runs offensively, so I got to get that guy. Or whether it's a pitcher, this guy always pitches well against us. We'd love to have an opportunity to acquire him at some point. Two-strike pitch. And this one lifted out to right field. Chu going back.
And he'll make the catch, tagging at third base Gaddis, and he will score on the sac fly by Maldonado. 11-2. But 2 away. There's Tony Kemp now. Last chance, last hope for the Astros. Well, the Astros got the solo home run of the 7th inning by Gaddis. He scores on the sac fly, so he scored both their runs. A very quiet night for a Houston team. Came in 30 games over 500. They have scored 2 runs on 6 hits. While the Rangers kind of went gonzo offensively today. 11 runs on 15 hits. There's a strike, 2-1.
I like seeing this kind of game for the Rangers. It was a rough series against the A's. They came in and swept Texas in a 4-game series in Arlington, and then you think, okay, well, schedule's going to get a little bit tougher here. We talked about it in our open. You got to come face the Astros. You got to come face the Arizona Diamondbacks, contenders. So to kick this road trip off with what is looking like a really strong victory here. Still got one more out to get, of course. I want to jump ahead, but the showing that the Rangers have had this evening is certainly an encouraging one.
Man trying to put the finishing touches on this one, the 3-1. And there's a strike, so full count on Tony Kemp. Giovanni Gallardo, 5 1/3 scoreless today, gave up just 2 hits. Cody Guerin inning in 2/3 in relief. Eddie Butler made his Rangers debut, and now Man. "3-2 on the way. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Kemp strikes out. This one is over, and the Rangers with an 11-2 win in the opener here in Houston. That's a beauty.
It certainly was. Nice showing here for the Rangers against the defending world champions, and nice way to finish it off for Brandon Mann by getting that strikeout. A left-handed hitter.